boys, set your watches for 20 minutes. Heat conditions for this round number 1, 20 minutes. No maximum boys, start with the top 2. 3 minutes pedal off, boy. 3 minutes pedal off. So set your watches for 20 minutes. No maximum boys, start with the top 2. And the pedal off 3 minutes. Please, reservers, let's clean the competition area as soon as possible. Less than 10 minutes to start.
Love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
Yeah, morning Giggsy. There on. Yeah, mate, absolutely. Down here, first day of the waiting period, waiting for a call from our contest director. We've relocated down the coast, what, about a 40-minute drive down?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, 2QS 3000s back to back. That first one very successful up in Santa Cruz, Portugal. But now down to the city of Lisbon itself. We're on the southern beaches, Costa Caparica plays host now to the World Surf League. And of course, the first location. And reasonable surf again to get competition underway. So contest this morning set to get going 100.
Attention surfers, hold your positions, please. No more surfers allowed. Surfers in these gate number 1,
We're just waiting. There's a lot of technical refiddling going on here. Sorry, mate.
1 minute to start. 1 minute to start. Thirty seconds to start.
Yeah, here I am.
Please
All right, mate.
stepper on the right. Please better wait. Thank you. Free surfers attention to start, and we will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is on. The hit is on. It is on. Primeira bateria está on. Abre as hostilidades de trabalho. E o homem segunda. Do Banco da Espanha. It's a little possível possible para os franceses para lá de guerra. First of red, Alex, 267. First of red, 267. Really want that. But o espanhol Alex Golanda fez that. Sempre ali, mais embaixo, red, espanhol. Priority wood grab. Red already scored 267. No went so far.
It's a very good morning to you from the beautiful region of Portugal. If you're with us, it's the World Surf League's qualifying series. 2 QS 3000s back-to-back sees the calendar full here in mid-April on the old continent, and a big slash there to get action underway. You're joining us in Costa de Caparica. We're on the southern beaches of Lisbon, coming off the back of a very successful Pro Santa Cruz up in the northern region above Lisbon. We now move down to the southern beaches. It's a good morning to you from the land of passion when it comes to sport. Gig Saliers alongside Paul Evans for the callers. You're joining us in the opening round. Another massive week of surfing ahead of us here, Mr. Paul Evans.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of a change of scenery. Not a lot long drive from where we were last week, but completely different sort of vibes. It's much more of like a sort of a lively like beach town with the kind of built up beachfront. A bunch of good peaks between these jetties.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at a urban surf zone, then this would be a very, very dense one. In fact, I can't think of other beaches that could nearly match this. I mean, I would imagine you'd say Newquay is England's version of Costa de Caparica.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, down here, it's imagine like Newquay, but like 10 minutes away from London. You know, it's that. So it's like we're right by the capital. You know, so you can surf all day, have that full kind of beach, being in the water. and then really
Well-
close to all the fun that goes on at night.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, a big tourist destination as well. This place packed with surf shops, surf schools, and just quality restaurants all up and down the strip here. Make sure to get down to Costa de Caparica if you get to the Lisbon region. Of course, looking at the contest out in the water, this is our first heat of the morning. It is Sean Burns out in an early lead here. He is represented by the Stars and Stripes flags. As we mentioned, 4 regions on display here. Moroccan surfer, Spanish surfer, French, and an American.
Yeah, Alex Baldwin out of the Canary Islands from Tenerife, played Las Americas. And he's been hanging as a strong little Spanish crew, along with Luis Diaz and obviously Goni. Guys like that, just kind of rolling together and like feeding off each other's energy. And Alex will be looking to maybe pick up a couple of tips and words of advice from some of his friends a little bit more experience on the QS. He's kind of looking for a breakthrough result recently. He's put in some good performances, lost kind of narrowly. Maybe that final turn has sort of cost him a little bit.
Yeah, the margins between surfing performances are just so slight, and I'm certainly looking at conditions like what we have on hand here today in Portugal. It is going to be decimals that probably split heat results here, following the young Moroccan surfer on a kind of moderate little left-hander. Thomas Debier, of course, no rides yet. The French surfer holding priority, coming off great momentum last week, all the way to the quarterfinals in the first of 2 QS 3000s here in Portugal.
Yeah, what a story that is for Thomas. As you said, all the way from round 1 and still in finals day. Didn't quite come off for him against Jorgan in their semi, but a really impressive surfer. And you look at him and see the size, one of the bigger and more sort of powerful surfers in the field. He's just 18 years old, Giggsy, and here he goes, and he's got the maturity to sort of match the physicality as you see him just fit those all-important 2-turn combos in that last shorey section. He's got a deadly backhand whip.
Alex Bourdain trying to answer back now to Thomas Debier. Debier took his time with that. 20-minute heats on offer here from the contest organizer. 13.5 remaining. We'll refresh scores continually top left of screen and keep you up to date on the progressional state of every single heat that unfolds here this week again. Of course, as is standard all around the world on the World Surf League. No amount of waves as a limit. You can catch as many as you want, but it's only the top 2 that count.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Tough in terms of, you've not got that long to post your scores with dealing with Mother Nature, but on the other hand, just thinking about the way this wave breaks gigs and the conditions, it's a relatively short paddle out. The waves themselves are pretty short. It's not like you're getting blown up on the inside. You're going to spend 5 minutes just trying to make your way out the back. So plenty of opportunity out there in those 20 minutes.
First day of competition here. Of course, the Caparica Surf Fest is a huge celebration. A massive week planned out for the surf community here in Lisbon, Portugal. All the disciplines being represented as well. Longboard, bodyboard, even kite surfing has a mention here. And of course the whole thing powered by Oakley this year. So great to have Oakley on board, really sticking to their heart of the sport of surfing. Local time, as we mentioned, just before 9 a.m. here. Coming off a low tide at 6:30 this morning. We have an incoming tide. So these will be contestable conditions. Magic Seaweed, our forecast partner, giving us a great report for the week ahead. No shortage of swell. We have 2 big bumps of swell coming at us this week.
Yeah, plenty of, haven't we? Absolutely swell. If you're thinking about the difficulty, it's more of a case of managing this swell. Certainly no chance of not having enough waves. It's more a case of avoiding the storms and picking out the optimum conditions, something that we did really well last week with our contest direction. We're up at that more exposed wave up there in Santa Cruz. This one, it's got a bit more shelter. You have these little rock jetties. It doesn't have that open ocean feel that Santa Cruz has, but it does get these nice little groomed, almost like skate park style walls. We saw in that little clip before we started. When it turns on down here, it's a really good high performance wave.
Paul, the other thing you made reference to before we got going here this morning is the beach is a lot flatter and drawn out. Talking of drawn out, here we go with a drawn out bottom turn for Silian Zohair, the Moroccan surfer. Trying to get some momentum build here with 11 minutes to go. Meanwhile, best number belongs to Thomas Debier, 4.6. Sean Burns started with a 4.5. So it is Burns in the mix here in this first heat of the very first round.
Yeah, Debier, little combo on the inside, wasn't it? It's just a small wave on him, about waist high. It just bashed a couple of turns on the end. Already good enough to throw something reasonably healthy on the scoreboard. Let's check out what happened with the American early on. This is the 4-5. That's a great little layback. Kind of drags the tail through the lip. Just the one maneuver. And Debier, it's a smaller inside wave. And he gets that one little backhand snap and then puts it up again. He gets plenty of his board out the top of the wave, but just looks like he does everything with so much control.
Very similar scores. They're built going in opposite directions. One big hack for Sean Burns. So single maneuver contribution. Big hack there for a 4.5 for Sean Burns. Looking at the week ahead, let's go down and chat with Ben Mundy. What have you got for us this morning, Ben?
Yeah, thanks, Gigs. I'm here with the contest director, Miguel. He's going to give us an outline of the day and a bit of a chat about the forecast. So first off, what's the plan for the day? Let's get stuck into it.
Well, today is the first day, so we're going to try to run as much as we can. We start with the round one of men's, okay? Then we'll try to do round one and round two, and first round of women. The predictions for today. Well, some good waves today. The forecast for today and tomorrow is pretty much good, so we're going to try to take advantage of that and start rowing.
All right, so there you go. We've got good conditions on hand. No hesitation pulling the trigger for an early start here this morning.
Day one of the contest, mate. Bring it on. Love it. Got the ball rolling down here. We've got a lot of surfers, 144 surfers. And as mentioned, obviously we've got plenty of other divisions going on as well.
Well, Debier on screen there. You just see him letting go of the tail on that final end section maneuver. Just going back to those two replays before the beach interview with our contest director there, Paul. Those two scores built in two different ways.
Yeah, really different. One, a big kind of cleaner turn out the back on a more powerful wave from Sean Burns, 4-5. Really interesting to note that the slightly superior score, not by much, 4-6 for Debier, was on maybe a wave about half the size. As soon as he got to his feet, he was kind of pumping his board for speed. But what he did do is he just found that steep inside section. Let's have a look at a replay here of Burns as he sets up with a little opening snapback. And then a little tentative down the line. And he gets a reasonable amount of lip on that last turn. Just wonder if maybe that's more of a two maneuver wave than three. As we see bold one out the back. Just get caught up and replace it. Here goes Celian, and that's a good belt from him. And I think our judges have got their work cut out there today.
Yep, high repetition of waves here as we follow live action again. Heat leader Sean Burns from the United States. Nice punctuation there, vertical attack to the end section. Already Burns locking in a fourth ride here. Debier, meanwhile, has jumped up to second, just with a backup score of a 1. So it really is just a 4-6 and a 4-5, setting the tone here for the opening heat of the morning.
Yeah, nightmare judging from my point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're good at it, they're professionals, they know what they're doing, but there's a lot of really short waves with like maybe one or two maneuvers. As we check up bold one, and it did well to almost hang on to the end of that turn. He saw it, you mentioned the low tide coming up, completely bottomed out for him. Tried to just stay over the tail, spread the wings to keep the balance there, but a bunch of stuff really bunched together scoreboard-wise, and we're seeing guys take off, get one pump for speed, and then just put the board up in the lip. So, well, that's why our judges are so highly skilled and trained, Giggsy, because, you know, they look at this and they can differentiate.
Yeah, that's the thing that is going to split the hairs, so to speak, is those subtle variations. Of course, a panel of 5, with the computer lobbing off the highest and lowest and averaging the remaining 3 each time, continually updated for you. And one judge to drop a score now for Alex Bourdain. Here we go. This is Debier, who quarterfinaled last week in Santa Cruz. In fact, just 2 days back, surfing in that final series. Debier eventually losing to Jorgen Kuzenet, but going home with a good haul of points at the QS 3000 level. Meanwhile, your Spanish surfer on screen will hack into another turn here. Alex Bourdain. Judges playing catch up on his numbers now.
Yeah, a couple of hits for Alex. That's the view from the sky. As you can just see a little ticker at the bottom. The heat's coming up today, stacked right from the very first round down here in Caparica. Really impressed with what we saw in terms of the standard and the sort of health of QS surfing at this level. And we're also really impressed, Gigs, with what an international field we had. It's a really strong Brazilian contingent, and they're going to come to play as well down here in Caparica.
Absolutely. You would expect a huge amount of the surfers from the Santa Cruz lineup doing the two-stop tour here. Numbers have settled in. That's a refreshed heat analysis top left of screen now. Burns out front. Debier, who, as we mentioned, quarterfinaled on Saturday, finishing 5th in the QS 3000 up in Santa Cruz, sitting at 2nd. Bourdain doesn't need much, nor does Zohir, to stay in the draw here. Remember, qualifying series heats 2 through, 2 are out each time. It's a ruthless system. There are no second chances here. But there are many QS events around the world, of course. We've had a number of QS 3000s already. Think of the Volcom Park Pro with Jack Robinson getting that win. Ethan Osborne getting the very first QS 3000 win. In fact, the first qualifying series event of the year over in Israel. Backhand statement hit there for Debier. Just that one maneuver contribution for a 4th ride for Thomas. And here's your heat leader. Big section for Sean Burns. Just the one maneuver each there. Keep their campaign ticking along here. Now, this is an important wave for the young Moroccan surfer. Not a great wave selection. That wave's not going to offer anything clean. So it looks like the first 2 waves of the set are the ones that have the clean face.
Yeah, bigger wave there for Sean Burns, wasn't it? Looked nice as he stood up, had that big kind of first bowl section on offer. He has found the better waves so far. That's been reflected in the scores he's getting as well. Obviously, it's not just about getting the waves. You need to show your manoeuvres as well. But it seems like on that right-hander that he's looking at, he's just finding and unlocking waves that got a bit more kind of blue-green face, as opposed to those inside ones with the white water. We saw that from Debier. Minor little error from Debier on his last wave. Doesn't finish his quite complete his inside manoeuvre. He's kind of sticking to the inside. Does have that ruthless, lethal backhand whip.
Sets approaching here. Sean Burns, heat leader, will go for another big option here. He goes to the air. And, wow, given the completion, had us paused there for a moment. Interesting to see where that score goes. Got some loft and some height on that one, did Sean Burns.
Yeah, love his intention. Love the way that he's just spying that section. Thinking of taking to the air. It's pretty well done. A little bit of pet in the kitty, wasn't it, on the kind of on the landing. Took him a while to kind of rotate clear of that white water, but it is, you know, it's a completion. He finished on his feet standing up, and the judges will think how that compares to what they've seen so far from him. But I like his spark. He's definitely fired up. He's certainly catching the better waves, as we just said.
Just saw the Moroccan surfer in green make a big error there and holding priority paddle for a pretty substandard wave. What I'm noticing here is Sean Burns is getting the cleaner wave faces. So we are looking at quite a steady pattern to the swells and the sets here. And down to 2 minutes to go, let's have a look at the heat recap. The scores have belonged to Thomas Debier and Sean Burns in this one.
Debier hoping to just carry on. He finished on finals day on Saturday up the coast of Santa Cruz, trying to get himself a quick start down here with that backhand turns that we've seen him do, and the judges have been rewarding him for this kind of surfing. He got a 4-6 for this one early on, Gigs.
Yeah, good backhand hits there from Debier. But Sean Burns has been finding the clean faces here in the very first heat. Of course, all competitors will be watching this as a barometer heat, so to speak. Efficient surfing from Sean Burns, and then getting a couple of big power hits as well, but definitely picking out the cleaner wave faces here, Paul.
Yeah, 4-4-7 and a big hack under the lip. So just one turn. He's certainly been the better in terms of his wave selection. He snaffled a couple of bombs out there this morning, and that's why he's in the lead right now. We're looking pretty good although he's counting fours, so you know, you're always vulnerable, our top two surfers, when they've got fours and threes in their total. But out there this morning, it's hard to see how anyone's going to go much further up the scale unless they really go mad. And during the recap, this is with him going for the punt again. And he lands that one kind of 180 and can't get the completion. Just saw him throw down before an air.
Well, priority belongs with Alex Bourdain. He's in third place. Requirements close to the 5 mark here. 4.93 requirement for third. And your Moroccan surfer down in fourth looking for a 4.86. So all very close here. You see your Moroccan surfer in green out the back. Here's the man holding priority. He's going to have to play it because the clock's down to under 15 seconds. Spanish surfer with a chance to turn the heat upside down. 2-turn combination coming at him. Kind of felt that he could have really unleashed a little more there. A little bit tentative.
Yeah, he's looking for 6.27, so he needed to go, you know, nearly a point and a half higher than anything else we've seen so far in this contest. It was a solid wave, but the difficulty with that right-hander at low tide is the wave starts off without a load of speed and then kind of bottoms out and drains. And you're not bringing too much speed into it. Let's see the view from the drone. A good first hit. You see the double-up section here. And he kind of was a little bit cautious in taking on that lip. It was doubling out. But you're right, Giggs. I'm not sure that's going to go anything close to the 6 that he required.
Well, just like that, heat 1 is over. We'll stay with us. We'll take a break. We'll bring you those official results as we continue on day 1 here in Caparica.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 giga. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
It's the land of sporting passion, that is for sure. You're joining us here in Portugal for the World Surf League's qualifying series. It's day 1 here at the Caparica Surf Fest, powered by Oakley. That's an official result there. Debbie Air gets that first place in the end. Sean Burns keeps the rest of the field at bay, and they'll advance into the next round. Out of the draw very early, Alex Bourdain and Selyan Zohir. There's your fresh one on stack here. A Spanish, a Hawaiian, and 2 Portuguese do battle. Ignacio Gusasala from Spain. Robert Grillo represents the Hawaiian Islands. And 2 Franciscos. We'll keep the Portuguese on their toes here. Good morning from myself, Giggs Leos, alongside Paul Evans for the call. We are now down in the city of Lisbon itself, the capital of beautiful Portugal. Costa de Caparica, a surf city of note, just to the south end, across the bridge past the Christ statue, and turn right into Costa de Caparica. That's where you'll find us all week long. Of course, no doubt we will have thousands upon thousands of people on the beaches here come later this week. Meanwhile, Almeida in white, one of 2 Portuguese, will get the ball rolling for us.
Yeah, nice little hit there from him. Good aggression. Spanked the lip. We're looking at really short rides. Maybe 3 maneuvers tops, possibly just the 1. You need to make this 1 maneuvers count. I liked his aggression and his spark.
Spanish surfer around the corner for 2 hits here, Ignacio Gusisalo. 2-turn contribution there. You see a lot of this just ensuring completion on turns. Definitely different conditions here to Santa Cruz last week. Already Grillo, though, while we were teeing up this heat, has had a very quick start here. You see an 8.33 top left of screen. It's made up of 2 scores of a 4.83 and a 3.5. We'll try and reel back the tape and bring it back to you. Of course, day one here, we're just getting everything underway here in Costa de Caparica. But Grillo's going to be relishing a 4.83 in the lineup so early here, Paul.
It's come flying out the gates, isn't it, early on? We'd love to talk about those quick starts. You'd have to say with a 20-minute heat, that's just even more crucial. Factor in the conditions out here, which, let's be honest, aren't classic surfing conditions. So you're probably thinking getting through these rounds, relatively low scores might do it for you. And this is what Grillo got done early on. The Hawaiians found himself nice wave out the back, and he belts into the lip, springs straight into his bottom turn, and a nice little combo for a 4.83. Looking nice and loose. Loads of spring in his step. And Carrasco here, one of our Portuguese surfers. He's a goofy. And he'll just go with the kind of incomplete final maneuver. Not that convincing. This was what Grillo also got done. He backed up his 4.83 with a 3.5. It's a solid hit out the back. And he went on the hunt for another section. In the end, just pulls through the back. But 3.5 for just that one turn. And he's already got pretty healthy lead gigs.
Well, here's a roll in again. One of the Portuguese surfers having a look at that opportunity. 20-minute heats. This one's got a little under 15 to go. So quick repetitions of waves here for the contest director. Decides let's keep that 20-minute platform. And we're getting plenty of waves out of the lineup. But very obviously, the lulls in between the sets, and then when the sets are coming, they're coming in almost half a dozen packs of waves at a time. You definitely want to get the first waves of the set to get the clean water.
Yeah, for sure. When we talk about that kind of wave catching mojo, and you know, we got all these X factors. It's easy to break down the technique and the sort of performance, but there is also just having that little extra affinity, and we see it happen so many times, heat after heat, day after day. You tend to get one surfer in particular that just seems to find the rhythm, and maybe key to that rhythm is just getting a good one early on.
Well, here's a good view of Costa de Caparica in the background there, and also here's a view of Gusisalo going down. That's the city of Lisbon out in the background of that shot. And of course, this is a go-to surf destination for the capital of Lisbon. And down the end of the beach there, just holding on to that one, wrestling it to completion, is Francisco Almeida. Try and bring you another look at that. Incoming tide here this morning, just after 9 o'clock local time here in the western part of Europe. And we expect a high tide around 12:30. These bowls should get a little cleaner. Very different sandbars held together and pinned together by a series of rock groins and jetties here in this Costa de Caparica.
So consistent, this place. You think about the winter and everything that the North Atlantic's throwing at this coast. It's easy for a big open ocean beach break to get closed out. This joint here, it's the break that you see when you fly in or out of Lisbon Airport, as you kind of dip the wing and circle around to come in for landing. You quite often fly right over the lineup down here. There's a bunch of peaks going for, I don't know how long it is, a couple of Ks along this stretch. There's jetties all along, and there's literally really fun peaks up and down, more or less any kind of condition. Super consistent waves, like a classic go-to.
I'm flabbergasted at Portugal. Around every corner, there's just waves. It's incredible how much swell this place gets.
And the varieties of gigs, like literally something for everyone. I mean, we were talking about it last week. Obviously, Nazaré is like the big kind of headline spot, but you know, great ways for surf schools, for beginners. Really fun ways for intermediates. Dip barrels and points, and reefs, pretty much everything in between. So much variety on offer. It's one of the reasons why it's become like one of the kind of global surf destinations for a trip.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt that Portugal has something for everyone. And certainly come the summer months, people flocking down here in their droves. Backhand hit there, as we just caught that on screen for Francisco Almeida. So better contribution now from your Portuguese surfer. Is occupying second place in the heat. Saw Gusisalo over in Santa Cruz getting through some heats. Ignacio surfing very sparky on his backhand over in Santa Cruz. We'll see what he can bring here to what's looking like predominantly right-handers here in the Costa de Caparica area. Let's go and hear from Thomas Debier, who had a good run in Santa Cruz. He's continuing his momentum here in Costa de Caparica.
That's right, I'm with Thomas. We're getting used to doing these interviews, aren't we, Thomas? You've had a great run in Portugal, and it's continued again today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I had a good time in Santa Cruz, finishing 5th, and now straight back in. 1-1, starting with the first hit of the day. So, yeah, it's pretty exhausting, but I'm ready for it.
That's the QS grind. And what are the conditions, mate? You're the first guy to come out and tell us about it. What are the waves like today?
It's like very different from Santa Cruz, like smaller. It's closing very fast, so you got to do 2 turns in the creek. I don't have like good scores, but I mean I finished first, so it's okay.
Okay, and you could be on again. We could run round 2 again this afternoon. So, mate, this keeps on rolling, doesn't it? You've got to stay fit and stay focused.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm going to take some rest and come back for the 1-2 later this afternoon.
We'll see you then, Thomas. Thanks, mate. Back to you guys in the booth.
Well, thanks, Ben. Thomas Debier, as he mentioned there, as Ben mentioned, 5th in Santa Cruz, found 1,260 points, jumped from 123rd to 56th.
Massive.
On the qualifying series.
Yeah, it's huge for him. And he looks like he doesn't have shortage of his own confidence, but nevertheless, that will just give you that extra boost as well. Just seeing your name rocket up those ratings at such a crucial time of year, coming into mid-April. Things just kind of start to settle out on the QS, aren't they? And a really impressive performance from him.
Well, this is the chance for surfers to really accumulate scores early in the calendar year. Of course, no one doing a better job of that than Jadson Andre right now, making 3 finals of 3 QS 6000s. Winning one of them and runner-up on the other 2 means that he is pretty much almost qualified for the championship tour come the end of 2019. Jadson Andre already on over 15,000 points on the qualifying series.
Be really interesting to see if, knowing he hasn't officially qualified, but we'd be thinking, all right, he looks like he's probably good. I wonder if that will change his approach to surfing in the CT. Less pressure, might be able to surf a little bit with more risk, Giggsy?
Yeah, I think that's a question that'll get posed to him come the start of Bells Beach, just 2 days away now from the start of the 2nd stop on the World Surf League's Championship Tour. Bells Beach celebrating its 50th year as well. It's going to be a great edition of the event. One of those columns of professional surfing over at Bells Beach. Meanwhile, the qualifying series here, we do the grind in Portugal this week. 2 QS 3000s back-to-back, and that was Francisco Almeida. But of course, this is the platform where we see the young talent emerging. And talking about young talent, on the opposite end of the discussion, there's a bunch of championship tour surfers here looking to find valuable points early on. Names like Michi Cruz, Keanu Singh, Nat Young, and more.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, got Federico Barres, this huge win last week up there in Santa Cruz. And he'll be looking to back up again. He'd love to go pick up another 3,000 points. And his effort to get back on tour. Love to just do it in the first year of Ask Gig. And he's made a very good start on his hometown. Little 2-event leg with that win. So let's see if he can back it up in the capital.
Gusisalo, the Spanish surfer, not able to set the fins and drive the board up the face, will remain down in 4th here as we go inside of 8 minutes to go. Roberto Grillo, surfing under the Hawaiian flag, got that early start, and nothing's changed since then. He's still out front. And that man coming up next,
David Noy, out of Israel. Tel Aviv, getting his warm-up done. And he had a pretty tricky heat last week, actually. He lost out, one of those real awkward moments of the tide. Didn't really happen for him. And he's looking to wash that off straight away in round 1 down here. And we talked about the cosmopolitan flavour, the competition, and you know, the broad reach of the QS, uncovering talent from different regions. And it's really interesting to see. Sometimes you get one guy break through, and then loads of his compatriots follow.
oh, hanging in the lip, there's your heat leader, Robert Grillo, getting stuck with it. And now Francisco Carrasco, 2-turn combo, light on his feet. The board just swirling around underfoot there at the completion of that maneuver. Down to 6:45 to go. We're not feeling that that last exchange will influence the heat. Actually, well, that last wave of Francisco Carrasco is going to go into his top 2 and just slightly strengthen some numbers for the third place surfer. That's how the heat looks at this stage. Grillo out front and Almeida in that advancing second place position. Remember, no second chances. It is the qualifying series. Long way to come to fall out early. That is the story of how tough it is on the qualifying series. Here we go. Big hit there for Almeida, trying to cement that second place position.
Yeah,
And a little bit of fishing in the background too there, Paul.
yeah, they love a bit of fishing around these parts, mate. And that cold water, that deep currents, bringing up the nutrients. Pretty productive part of the ocean down here. But not productive in terms of that finish there for Almeida. It was a good hit. It was quite late. He took on the lip. And looks like he got bounced off just on that landing. Couldn't quite stick that, so it's not going to help his position. It's a classic game of sort of 4s and 3s early on, and Thomas mentioned it in his interview. Low scores, but who cares? It's just about survival right now.
Yep, absolutely right. It's about keeping in the draw, finishing top 2 each heat and just keep it going. Of course, Thomas Devier did a fantastic job of that last week. As you mentioned, going from that first round all the way through, finishing quarterfinals. So there are those opportunities for the hungry. Meanwhile, that man on screen, Francisco Almeida, representing the local nation here.
Yeah, he looks good. I've been impressed with what I've seen of him. He's got plenty of spark. He's got aggression. I love the way he's bringing the speed into the lip with his board. He's got that nice kind of whip that gives just kind of those exclamation points as he's surfing, showing the judges plenty of aggression. He's just looking to find an opportunity with a little bit more kind of room for manoeuvre. It looks like we're really sort of cramped on that inside shorey section. It looks like where you're going to place your turn is like really dictated to you by this inside bowl. And he'd love just a little bit more open feel to things.
The other Portuguese surfer here down in 4th finds what I think is his best wave right there. Francisco Carrasco, 2-turn combo. Went from one bowl to another there, and I think that's going to slot nicely into his scoreline, holding on a pair of 2s previous to that. See how high that goes.
It looks like he's kind of cruising a little bit, doesn't he? Almost similar to Baudouin in the last heat. He's just kind of going through the motions a bit, and it's not huge numbers,
Not a lot
but
of conviction.
no, the difference between a 2 and a 4 is kind of big out there right now, and he really needs to probably just commit quite considerably more to his manoeuvres. Otherwise, he's going to stay down in towards those 2s and 3s. Like you said, it was a better effort from him, but it doesn't look like he's kind of really putting everything into it.
Well, look at that first heat this morning. Winning heat score total of a 9.6. So not a lot out in this lineup. That's the cruel reality of it. But there are opportunities, and Grillo certainly has found them with the 4.83 and the 3.6 in the scoreline. Let's have a look at the heat recap of it, because we'll see how Roberto Grillo has found his scores and gone out front here. Of course, Almeida is the surfer holding on to second place here.
Yeah, belts that drainer section with a beautiful cityscape Lisbon in the background. Great shot down here. And Almeida pushing reasonably hard. That was a 4.47. This one was his 3.9. Just that one turn. Meanwhile, the Hawaiian got busy really early on. Well, he was still on break when he belted this thing. He got himself a 3.6 for that. And this was his top score, the 4.83. Nice clean section out the back. Bangs the lip first turn, and then hammers a little end section. Nicely done, the combo. And he's never really looked in too much danger since then. Basically, so important to get that quick start. To find a section, hit it, just make sure you ride out. It's exactly what he's done. It's not overly pretty. It's probably not going to make too many highlight reels or, any edits for the web as such, but it's just about survival.
Yep, that's what this is. And surviving a turn there. Grillo under 2 minutes now. Your heat leader will wrap up another score here. That'll actually be his wave number 6. of this encounter. Where is the Spanish surfer in all of this?
Yeah, Guisasola's been awful quiet, and that's not really like him. He tends to be kind of busy, and he's looked a little bit lost out there so far. Does have that priority, but it's not either. He's had opportunities and hasn't fancied them, or he's just found himself out of position. And he's in a bit of trouble now. There's only 90 seconds to go, and he needs a 5.8, which again, be considerably healthier than anything we've seen ridden so far in this heat.
Now this heat's run away from Ignacio Guisasola, your Spanish surfer. He made it through a round or two in Santa Cruz, so you'd want him to at least try and spark it up now as we go down to 1 minute to go. Meanwhile, a healthy score in for Robert Grillo in the landscape of what we're dealing with here on day one, a 4.97 for your surfer in blue. As you see, a little look over the edge there for Almeida, who's trying viciously to protect that second place advancing slot.
Yeah, time ticking away here, and it's Grillo looking pretty strong still. The Hawaiian in the blue. Almeida's looked pretty good value for a second spot so far. And he'll have a little look at a wave here.
Well, here you go, second place surfer. Just trying to shut the door now on his fellow Portuguese surfer and, of course, the Spanish, as the clock will pretty much be on the countdown now. 15 seconds to go. Does Ignacio Guisasola find anything in this broken lineup? Here is your heat leader. This is Robert Grillo, finding a sneaky little tube. Not finding the exit, though, and that's going to wrap up a tough heat for heat number 2 here this morning.
Sweet little head dip through the inside for Grillo, getting some tunnel vision. It won't be a completion, he won't care. He's in first place. He hit his stride early on, banged out some turns, and he built a little bit with his final, and it's a good effort from him in tough conditions.
Yep, so we'll bring you that official result after the break. That was heat 2 wrapped up. It is round 1 of day 1 here in Costa de Caparica, beautiful Portugal.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
Welcome back to day 1 of competition here. 2 QS3000s take up the calendar here. This is the second QS3 now. We've moved to a new location of Costa de Caparica. For those of you that were with us in that previous heat, here is that official result. Robert Grillo from Hawaii moves to the next round along with the Portuguese local Francisco Almeida. It's good morning from myself, Gig Cedillos, alongside Paul Evans for the call. A big week of surfing ahead here as the Caparica Surf Fest, powered by Oakley, brings a big week of surfing here. Let's have a look at this one. Who's going to take the top 2 slots? David Noi out of Israel, Kenta Ishikawa from Japan. And as we say that, here is your Japanese surfer.
Big, strong maneuver there. That's a great hit. And a solid wave as well. So really nice for my Japanese on the backhand. Lenny Jensen just bashing, slightly softer inside effort. And here goes Theo Juliet, backside, little whip off the top. And another little slightly less committed turn, but nevertheless, it's a second maneuver. I was really impressed with Kenta. I love the way he hit that, and that section was a real drainer. And it's probably, I don't know if it's the biggest wave we've seen so far, but it's the nicest looking section and good risk. And he's been rewarded with the highest number of the day so far.
Yeah, nice emphasis on that single maneuver contribution from Kenta Ishikawa for a 5.33. You see conditions on hand here, onshore, and a little bit of drizzle thrown in as well. Nonetheless, it is an incoming tide. There are usable bowls, and it will continue to improve through the day here in Costa de Caparica. And your Japanese surfer attempting now to back up that opening score of a 5.33 will go down.
He's blowing up out here, isn't he? I don't know exactly too much about his home beach in Japan, but, you know, you're probably guessing he's very used to surfing marginal kind of beach break conditions. And that's why our Japanese surfers are so strong on the QS, especially at the beach break venues. And really used to just squeezing any energy and power out of whatever the ocean offers up. He did that on his first wave.
Yeah, of course, Kanoa Igarashi really paving the way for inspiration for the Japanese new wave of attack. I love the contribution that France is making as well. Lots of French talent. We've seen great results in Santa Cruz last week for the French flag again, the tricolore. And this young man, just 20 years of age, Theo Juliet. You know much about him?
No, not at all. He's part of that like next breed of juniors, or out of the juniors now, of course, 'cause just under 18s now. But part of that next generation. There's a big crop of surfers of sort of similar status. Not too many like really big names. But you think about guys like Dibier, just flicking back to him. No one really knew anything about that guy like this time last year, and he's already making a solid name for himself on the QS as we see Kenta again, just belting that inside.
So wave number 3 there for Kenta Ishikawa. So a quick heat build here from the Japanese, similar to what Robert Grillo did in that previous heat. Here is your Frenchman. As we say, lots of new names for us to dig into and to watch emerge through the qualifying series rankings as we get all these new talent on display in 2019.
Yeah, and you mentioned about the French surfers. Really interesting to see. If you think about 3 of our last 8, they were live action there. A little backhand rotation from Lenny, but think about our 3 surfers that all made it in finals there. They all come from the overseas islands. 2 from Guadeloupe, 1 from Reunion. They're from tropical waters. Gives you that chance to surf from a really young age, spend all that time in the water, and absolutely pays off.
Well, here's a region that is starting to produce surfing talent. Yes, Israel. This is David Noy. Of course, Israel hosting the first qualifying series event of the year as early as mid-January. David Noy will post an opening score for us, representing the God-blessed nation of Israel. Yeah, as you mentioned, just different regions playing their contribution to the big picture.
All right, Kenta here. This is a replay, a tentative opening, and then pushing the board through the lip. He looks like he's definitely got the measure of these conditions. I don't know if he's down practicing early. Let's check out Juliet. Backside, little setup snap, nice steep section. That's a really good hit from him. I love the aggression there. And he set that one up beautifully with that swinging bottom turn. David Noy with a sort of slower down the line momentum and a soft shouldering wave. This one doesn't even get a closeout section. It just goes into a bit of a hole. That's going to be a small score from him. But Theo Juliet belted a wave out the back, and he's up and riding now live.
Well, wave number 4 already for Juliet. Judges owe him now for 2 scores. And what I learned from that whole little flurry of activity there, Paul, is that you can't find a wave with a slopey shoulder.
Yeah, definitely.
Got to get something with a wall and a slam section at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where you get the opportunity to show that degree of difficulty, that risk is hitting that closeout lip coming at you. It's exactly what Juliet did backside. A big turn from him. The wave almost got a little bit bigger on that end section. So let's see, a score comes in for him. That's a 4.9. So it's his highest effort. After that, we got another wave that scores in for that. It's a throwaway. So he started consolidating that second, but Kenta still looking pretty good by virtue of that 5.33.
We're doing our best to keep our camera lenses clean, guys. It's onshore, it's a drizzle, it's pretty testing conditions here for the QS grind. But nonetheless, we are working through the heats this morning, Monday morning here in Lisbon, Portugal. Local time now 9:30. We're into heat number 3 of the draw. A nice snap there from Lenny Jensen brings an energized contribution from the surfer in white, surfing under the, well, 2 waves here back to back, Kenta Ishikawa as well. Let's go down and hear from Robert Grillo. He had a good run there in that heat number 2 of the morning.
Yeah, that's right. I'm with Robert Grillo. Thanks, Kiggs. It's a bit wet out here, so we'll make this quick. Robert, you've had to come straight from Santa Cruz. Is this the first time you've ever been to Caparica?
Yeah, I came here yesterday, and there was a contest, so I had to surf further down, but yeah, it was a fun wave.
Do you have, that's part of being on the QS, you have to turn up at new events, you're young, you're getting experience, but how hard is it just to rock up and try and get familiar with a place really quickly?
Yeah, you know, I love learning new things and just learning how to adapt, especially here, is definitely a challenge, but I'll work it out.
Well, you're working it out, mate. You're through to the second round, so good luck later on today. Another surf, more experience, and push on. All right, guys, we'll have to go back to you in the booth. Thank you.
Run for cover, Ben Mundy, run for cover. Of course, we're sitting here snugly watching the drizzle come down.
He looked quite sinister in that hood, Monday. He almost looked like some sort of baddie out of Star Wars, didn't he? Some sort of sinister kind of force for evil. No, under the hood there, looking a little bit creepy in the rain.
Yeah, just sort of that little frown underneath the hood. But it's all good in the hood. As Grillo moves through to the next round, of course, you're joining us now with a little over 10 minutes to go in this encounter. Priority with David Noy, but 4th place for the Israeli surfer, who found nothing more than a slopey shoulder with 2 cutbacks for just a 2. So he's got to change his game plan here and go to plan B, because Kenta Ishikawa showed us how to find numbers in the lineup, 5.33 and just a 3.17, but that's enough to be out front. And let's see what Lenny Jensen has. Jensen with a 4.5 on his previous wave will now bring momentum with a 2-turn combo. And that is going to be better.
Yeah, nice first hit. Second one, I'm not sure what happened, but just didn't quite get the release he was after, but a good wave from Lenny. And he will be looking to improve. He's in that 3rd spot, eyeing up 1 and 2. Here goes David Noy, drops a little layback, and then things get a bit awkward for him. It's a bigger wave from David, positive. He's found himself a good bit of energy there, but not quite getting the execution through the maneuvers.
Nah, I'm seeing wave selection letting David Noy down at this stage. Of course, comparing these conditions to what we experienced last week, they have to attack the lineup in a different way here, because it is a completely different set of sandbanks and a different nature to the waves themselves, Paul.
Yeah, same country, similar part of the coast, but a completely different ball game in terms of what the ocean throw. We're going to check out some highlights from Santa Cruz last week. And what a week we had up there.
Well, this was a few days back now, of course, a big week with 2 QS 3000s, this one up here in Pro Santa Cruz. This is a region about 50 kilometers north of Lisbon and completely set of different sandbars. The coast facing more exposed to the northwest, and big powerful waves and heavy sections was the order of the week of surfing. And no one did a better job of it all the way to the finals than Ramzi Bukaim.
Yeah, so impressive on that left-hander. Of course, we did go out the back for the final. Ramsey looking so strong, and we saw a lot of that as Luel Philippe just dry docking it on dry sand. There's so much commitment going into that shore break section in terms of commitment. Vasco Ribeiro just belting his turns.
Yep, it was a big bowling left-hander that would keep repeating, and we saw some fantastic surfing. We mentioned the French efforts here in Portugal, and none better represented than Jurgen Cousinet. But it was to be the Portuguese star, Frederico Moraes' day. Got a great job done of it as he kept going through the rounds, and he'd tee up into a big final with Ramsey, who'd gone 3rd in 2018 at the venue, went one better, making it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, Ramsey looked incredible. He had a bit of a shocker in the final, didn't go his way at all, but in terms of form, he looked as good as anyone in the field. But that man right there, and what he also did is he showed us another string to his bow, going above the lip in his attacks, mixing it up with the stock rail turns, and going with the release out of the lip, and he did it to fine effect. Very impressive performance from Federico.
Yeah, and you saw how much it meant to him, and really because It may just be a QS 3000 win, but I think it represented much more than that, Paul.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And the confidence that he'll get from that as well on home turf. So really stoking out the fans here.
Meanwhile, new heat situation, those are refreshed numbers. Jensen's gone out front now, care of this.
All right, Lenny sets up. He's got a nice section right in front of him. And he gets a first hooking turn out the lip and another little belt. And he still wasn't done, surfing away from our camera position all the way down the line. So Lenny goes to first with a 4.83. And this one's really close, actually, Giggs, because Teo Jolit's only looking for a 3.61. Let's have a look. Here he is with a backhand attack. And went a long way on that right-hand maneuver.
The difference with this heat to the previous is that we've got 3 surfers sitting with healthy scores this time round. Lenny Jensen's got the best of it, a 4.83 and a 4.5. But as you mentioned, Teo Juliet with a 4.9 in his scoreline brings himself right knocking on the door of that second place position currently occupied by Ishikawa.
So heat on our hands here and a real tussle as we check out David Noy, our Israeli surfer, with the first setup hit. And then goes with some nice little drift and release. Too much release from the point of view of his surfboard staying in contact with the wave.
Well, that was opportunity for Noy to find a number and start building momentum in the heat there, Paul. You know, it felt his wave selection early on. It let him down, but that one did offer an opportunity. Let himself down on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's improved his total slightly with that wave. Gets a 2.7 for it, but I do like the way he's sticking at this. He's not become disheartened. He's definitely not gone his way so far. It's only his 4th wave, but he is finding better waves. I just wonder if he's maybe left it a little bit too late to sort of surf his way into form. It's only a 20-minute heat. So we see the number for Kenta to move into first. Of course, he is in second spot. 1 and 2 advancing. Going to lose half of our field down here today. Of course, no second chance. Unlike the CT and the QS, you come from wherever you are in the world, fly over, you get 2 2s, or whatever it might be, and you're out, you're done. See you later.
Ah, it's ruthless. Round of 144. That's how many surfers we've got here. We'll cut this first round down. We slip inside of 5 minutes to go here. But it is Jensen under the German flag out front in this encounter. 4.83 and a 4.5. But Kenton Ishikawa did start strong at the beginning. And meanwhile, just not backing his 5.33 up. Just a exposed 3.17 in his scoreline. Let's have a look at the heat recap of it, because it was the Japanese surfer that got the momentum early.
Yeah, love this from Kenta. That's a beautiful turn on a really nice steep sucky wave. It was way over his head as he was leaning into his bottom turn, and then he backed himself up with a different kind of a wave in terms of energy.
I like that one, actually.
But similar surfing in terms of his spark and his aggression.
Well, Lenny Jensen now out front with a late start. Left it pretty late in the heat. Jensen brought himself right back into contention here.
Yeah, puts himself in a really good position on the double-up bowl. And there you see the spark. Gets that nice little release with that backhand hit. Loads of spray as well. And Lenny, from a sort of slowish start, really come to the party in this one. Finds himself out in front. And priority is with our surfer in blue, Ishikawa. So
I was just going to say those 2 surfers just hovering around each other with their priority in favour. But during the break, let's have a look at David Noy. Is he finding scores for us yet?
So Noy with the first layback turn, he almost came to a complete standstill. He's not really managing to find that down the line speed between his turns. So everything's been done in kind of second gear for David so far in this one. He's not found rhythm with the ocean. This is one of those waves where you do really need to squeeze every last drop out of what comes through. There's a big difference between the in-between waves and those kind of real sucky double-up sets. And he's just looking like he's not quite got the speed going through his waves in this one.
Heat leader Jensen hammers another one for us here as we go inside of the 3-minute mark. And that, I feel, may knock on the door of a substitute score. 4.83 and a 4.5 already in the scoreline for the heat lead. And certainly pulls another one out of the lineup here in Costa de Caparica. Of course, this is the southern beaches of Lisbon. And a big surf density area. Lots of surf schools, lots of beach activities. And now some release off the lip by Kenta Ishikawa is trying to attack and get his lead back. He's got to find a 4 to do that, to take the lead off Lenny Jensen in white. But quick turnovers here of waves, including David Noy now in the mix. Again, picking up on a later wave in the set. And again, his wave selection just letting him down. So Noy is not in rhythm here. It is just the fact of it. We'll see what numbers come from this exchange.
Yeah, here goes Kenta. Good first hit. You see the spray. And then gets another little bash on the end as well. Good two-turn combo. It's definitely been a battle, a tussle between these two. It's a really nice backhand wave from our German surfer. He smashed that one. And he managed to get his board out of the lip and then get that little release drop down out of the air, which always adds a little bit of visual flair. It was the heat leader prior to that exchange. The judges are going to consider how those came in. You think Kenta Ishikawa's 3-1-7. Do you think he bettered that, Giggsy?
Oh, I'm thinking maybe he bettered it. I'm not thinking he found the 4, though. So we're expecting maybe a mid-range 3. It's all speculation. Of course, it's up to the judges. Here goes Israel's David Noy down the line. Finally, a wall to get working with for Noy. This is his best contribution, but it's coming pretty late. And there's no reason for that to slip at the end there. So Noy has really let himself down in this particular heat. His last 2 waves, he has fallen and thrown away potential numbers.
He's having a nightmare. First turn, sort of inexplicably, just sort of got that wrong. And it was a beautiful wave. He had 4 like legit maneuver sections. Doesn't really get clean into any of them. So it's just not gone well for him. It happens to all of us Monday morning at work. You know, doesn't always go your way. Maybe he didn't have enough coffee, but it's a beautiful looking wave. I mean, look at that stand up, and he sort of misses his turn completely on the first one. Gets a little bit more of that one. There's plenty of speed here. A decent progression. It was begging for a big finish. And his board just carries on going out the back of the wave. He goes down in front, and that will be definitely a missed opportunity for David Noy, and he's going home.
Well, Ishikawa's pinched the lead out from underneath Jensen. Let's have a look how he did it.
Yeah, really strong, our Japanese surfer. Started off great with that first one big hit, and he's had a little bit of a challenge from the German, Jensen, and he hasn't been rattled, and right at the end, he's just made sure he got that done, got himself back in first spot. Impressive performance. Loves a challenging beach break condition. He's done well out here, has had that man right there, Lenny Jensen. Impressive performance from the German.
Yep, Lenny Jensen through to the next round. Looks like that is going to be the official standings, although the judges' scorecard is open for all 4 surfers right now. We'll take a break as the judges bring us those scores. We'll continue here on day 1 in Portugal.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
And we are back live at Caparica. I'm Ben Mundy, I'm back in the booth, and I've got Giggsy alongside me, mate. I missed the first couple of heats. I was out roaming around talking to people. What went on, mate? What was the highlights? What's the vibe? What's the vibe?
Well, the vibe is good. for day one, considering there's a little bit of a rain. But that is an official result now from that last heat. Kenta Ishikawa finds that 4.77 at the end of that heat. He will be our heat winner. We will hear from him shortly. And good one for Lenny Jensen, surfing under the German flag. Gets a heads up over Theo Gilliette and David Noy, fall out the draw. Here is your next heat out in the water already running. This new one is featuring two Portuguese surfers again, Frederico Malagaias and Gonzalo Vieira. They're up against Christian Portello. Portello out of the Swedish representation. There's some interesting discussion for us. And Kiani Souza, of course, representing the Brazilians. You can't have a qualifying series without a lot of Brazilians in them, can we, Ben?
No, that's an absolute conveyor belt of talent coming out of Brazil. Just an endless supply of hungry young surfers determined to make their mark. You know, they often, sometimes, not always, but yeah, come from a bit disadvantaged background and are really trying to improve themselves, improve their surfing and get out and see the world, and they're doing a great job. Yeah, it's the last Santa Cruz event was, I think, in the round of 32, we had something like 12 or 13. So at least a third of the surfers in the, you know, the 32 were from Brazil. So yeah, and there's another one there. They're all piling in. They obviously speak the language here in Portugal, which is a massive bonus in terms of them getting around and enjoying themselves and travelling. The Portuguese and the Brazilians have a real sort of close affinity with each other, and they love it here.
Well, you see a Swedish surfer in this heat, and also you see his age, the young Swedish, just 17 years of age. So we've got a lot of junior representation here. Of course, running alongside us here for the Surf Fest is the World Surf League's junior qualifying series as well, coming off a very successful event a few days back in Espinho, up near Porto. Two-turn combination incomplete for Gonzalo Vieira.
If I was a surfer, obviously I'd be. If I wasn't
you're
here,
not a surfer?
No, no. If I was a surfer, I'd be watching this. I'm a surfer, mate. That's all I do. That's the whole reason I exist.
But go on. But if you were a surfer, yes,
I'd be pretty happy because I'd be going surfing because I reckon the whole world's beach breaks and point breaks are empty right now because they're all here in Caparica. I just went down this contest. There's about 4,000 surfers, junior surfers, wind surfers, professional surfers, female surfers, male surfers.
longboard surfers.
Oh, that's a big two-turn combo. The judges love a two-turn combo. And that got Frederico a 5.83, so he's out to a strong, strong start. Of course, Kano Souza from Brazil, but he spends a lot of time down in the Canary Islands. Actually, I think he's based down there now. So, but that's also the other thing about Brazilians. They travel far and wide. They set up in the good spots. We saw Marcelo Nunes is a Brazilian, a long-time QS. He's here in the coaching capacity. He now lives in Hossegor. You guys like Kano Souza, Brazilian now based in Canary Islands. There's loads of Brazilians sort of spending more of my time in Portugal. So yeah, they get around and they set down routes and they got a knack for finding where the best waves are and hanging out there.
Well, completely different conditions to Santa Cruz. We had big bowly rip bowls. Here we've got more sort of standard beach breaks that are open to the surface water moving in. Having a look here at the backhand attack. This is Portelli, the Swedish surfer, junior surfing on display here in the qualifying series, and that was a good hit.
Yeah, you might have had a few whistles in the background, always a sign that someone's done something pretty special.
One of two Portuguese surfers here. This is your heat leader, open to the 583 now, setting up wave number 2. That's Fred Magalhães. He's not going to add a big number as a backup score, but it will push him even further out ahead because he has the lead on a single ride of the 583.
Yeah, this left looked nice. We're talking about two-turn combo. There's another one. So nice first turn, nice angle on that, and then cracks it from that sort of side angle. You can see the fins getting out. So yeah, really solid surfing from the Swede.
Judges are going to eat that one up for Christian Portello. Meanwhile, someone that did a good job was the Japanese surfer. Let's go down and hear from the heat winner from that last heat.
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks, Giggs. Kenta, really strong start from you. 5.33 for a big left and one big turn. It must have felt great to get a good start.
Thanks so much. It was so lucky to get the first one, and I was just thinking about just go or not, and it just went and just landed. It was so lucky. Yeah.
And mate, you're over here doing the QS in Portugal. Just tell us a little bit like what your plans are this year and what your goals are.
My goals are just gonna try to get a 6s and 10,000 in the last half of it, and yeah, just same thing next year. Yeah.
And just a final word on conditions down here this morning. A bit stormy. Is this similar to the kind of stuff you surf at home?
Oh yeah, it's actually exactly the same. When the typhoon comes, it's just like this, and it's usually small, but yeah, this is just perfect for me. I really love it. Yeah.
Keep it rolling, mate. Good luck for the next round.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Back to you guys. Back to you guys in the booth. Arigato.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, mate. It's perfect for him. He loves it, just like home, and he was loving it out there. Real positive, sort of happy chap by the looks of things. Not Paul Evans, of course. He's a cynical, old, wizened hack. But the Japanese surfer has definitely got something going on. As we see, a kick out from Magares. Yeah, so that tends to be a bit of a, I think a lot of these surfers' goal, especially those guys in the early rounds, it's just getting better seed, isn't it? It's there's a qualifying series event. This has got 3,000 points available if you win. And as the ratings go up, more and more points get allocated. So, and then for the bigger events, only a certain number of the top seeds get in. So, all these young guys now are just trying to improve their seed, and that means they can start to get in bigger events, and that's where bigger points. And that's the kind of ladder you've got to start to climb, don't you, to get all the way to the top.
No, absolutely. I mean, case in point, Ben, is Debbie who went to the quarterfinals in Santa Cruz, jumped from 123rd to 56 on the QS, just like that.
Yeah, exactly. So before this, say, you know, before he came into these events, he wouldn't have got into a 6,000 or a 10,000 because he's got to be right in the top, so 96 in the QS or even higher.
Yep.
Now, you know, when they really reallocate the seats, which we will find out. I'm a bit unsure exactly when that process takes place, but when they do allocate it, yeah, he'll be starting to get a slot at those bigger events. It's like a rip bowl. You know, the more waves you catch, the more waves you catch. Well, the more points you get, the more chance you got bigger points you get.
Well, we said the judges were going to eat up that wave of Portello's, Benno. 6.9, biggest score just yet, and they love that. Might even try and have another look at it, because that is going to showcase how to find scores here in the lineup.
Two-turn combo, eh, Gigs?
Yep.
They love them.
But it's a big loaded one, so he really got the rail in on it. He'll be amping off that. It's just a single ride now. Up to second is Portelli from Sweden. What are we making of conditions? I mean, you know, we kind of all looked at it this morning and go, yep, this looks like a QS event.
Yeah, it's, you know, well, as Susan, yeah, I mean, it's a QS event. To me, you know, look, these waves get really good. I was speaking to one of the judges who was here last year, Jeffrey Mallet, and he said that last year they got absolutely pumping waves off that. There's a break wall to the northern end of this little section. And yeah, so we've got it sort of broken up. But the thing about it, there's sort of waves stretching from one break to the other. This break wall's probably, what, a good 300, 400 metres apart. So that's the whole playing field for the event. And the surface is kind of spread out across that whole sort of little stretch. And I think maybe the high tide might just offer a few more corners, less straight. But we've got swell. There's a bit of power to it. It's head high or above. Yeah, it's super contestable.
There's your overview of Costa de Caparica here. In fact, a series of rock groins offering around probably nearly a dozen beaches back to back all along the stretch here. We are at Praia de Paricio, which is, as you drive in the main drive down into Costa de Caparica, you cannot help but running into the activation here from Oakley. Of course, the Caparica Surf Fest powered by Oakley this year. Great to have them on board.
You've been hanging up at the Mecco Beach quite a bit, isn't that your favourite beach break up there on the northern corner, Gigs?
Yep.
Yeah,
I like it there. Sipping cocktails.
Yeah, well, that's the nudist beach, of course. One of Portugal's most famous nudist beach. So, I thought you'd sort of been set.
Yeah, sun's out, bums out. It's all good.
Yeah, it's famous. Yeah, one of the original sort of Portuguese nudist beach up there, right at the corner, tucked away. But
yeah, this stretch, it's just series of sort of break walls that rifle down to the...
Ben, how did you know that was the nudist beach?
Ah, mate, I just did my research. Mate. And of course, the southern end of the this sort of stretch of coast is protected by a massive natural reserve, so that's all protected from development. So yeah, we've got a real sort of blast of urban beach culture, a bit of liberal nudism, great family beaches further down, and then a whole stretch of just pristine coast. So you got it all down here in this little stretch of the coast in Costa Caparica.
Yep, as you mentioned, all sorts of disciplines being represented here as well in the Caparica Surf Fest. We're talking about juniors this year, the QS 3000 men's event anchoring the festival for the week. And anchoring a score on the way here possibly is Kano Souza, finding himself a runner, a couple of bowls to deal with. He must try and find an end section to slam it and bring it home. A little bit soft, but he'll zip into it nicely. Third place surfer before that ride. Gonna have to find a 5-4-8 in the lineup though if he wants to attract that second place position. Federico Malagash is in that second and holding priority.
Yeah, he's working hard for it, isn't he, Souza? It's Portelli again, so he comes off, one big turn, does a bit of hang time. So got a 4.17 to back up his 6.9, so definitely he has had the biggest turns of the heat, and they're getting rewarded. So strong surfing from the Swede.
Yeah, clear lead for the Swedish. Not often you'll see a flag up top like that in the sport of surfing. For now, here he is on screen having a dip now, just wave number 3, so he's done a good job of this. Strong application to the rail, 2-turn combo, times it nicely, just delays and then goes up again. I'll tell you what, he's clearly out front in this heat for a good reason. That is quality surfing from Christian.
Yeah, he's absolutely dominating, isn't he, Christian? 3 of the best waves. We'll see if that can improve on a 4.17. But he's, yeah, looks like he's got first and daylight second at the moment. Here he goes. He just comes around first, a nice left-hander. It's probably the money turn, big float, and then finishes it off. A little bit late on that last one, but still enough. So Portelli just turning the screws. It's a race for second. Migueles in second, Kano Souza in third. And this man was in fourth. Here he goes though, off his backhand. Floats it off the first turn. Nice wall. And does a nice closeout Rio and completes it. He needed a 6.27, so he needed a big score. I don't know if he'll get that, but he's looking pretty good, at least improving his position. Okay, and that's Kayawada there, just down there on the beach, another Japanese surfer. Big Japanese contingent over here, all up in Santa Cruz, having a good time. Now moved down to Caparica. You'll see there's a bit of moisture on the pitch, all right. Bit of rain, sort of hovering around, low level cloud, and so a lot of these times in the afternoon it starts to just brighten up as the day progresses. So hopefully we'll get some of that famous Portuguese sunshine a bit later on in the day.
Well, Portelli out front here, just having a look at last year for him. Ben got a 9th in Tenerife as a 16-year-old, so
yeah,
doing a bit of work.
That's right. Yeah, I was down there for that one. That's right. Yeah, he made the the round before the quarters, and yes, it's really strong. I think he spent a lot of time down there in the Canary Islands, originally from Sweden, but yeah, sort of based down there in the Canaries, so Tenerife. So yeah, put him some big results for such a young kid.
Yep, sitting in the top 20 on the junior series. Let's have a look at Souza. Yeah, this is the Brazilian down in fourth. And draws a line up in the top corner, sets his rail and drives out of the top instead of using the lip. He'll need more than that. He's got to build numbers here. 5.31 requirement for Souza. As we get down already, Ben, just to 5 minutes remaining. So this one's gone pretty quickly. 2 Portuguese surfers sitting on either side of the split there. It is top 2 advancing. One of the Portuguese is in that top 2. And a look down the beach to the southern end. See surfers in heat preparation. Morville in red. Chagas. Didn't Chagas have a good run in Santa Cruz too, eh? Really kept us on our toes there with his goofy foot performance.
yeah, you're really consistent. Loads of free surfing, loads of heats, so he should be in good form. It's funny though, they just work so hard for their heat runs, and then bang, lose the heat, you're out. But then again, it just starts again. You got to re-grind. You know, everything's on the line. We saw one of the surfers in the early heat, well, the first heat of the day actually, didn't we? I made Alec Baldwin from Canaries.
Yep.
He surfed in his first heat in Portugal, got an interference. It's a bit of a mix-up. Pretty unfortunate in the end. And he was out of that. And then he comes down the first heat of the first day in Caparica, and gets knocked out as well. So, you know, all the effort, all the money, all the time, all the travel, and you're out. So that's the jeopardy we got for it.
Well, plenty of opportunities on the qualifying series. Surfers trying to keep their seeds in the top 100. Let's have a look at how this heat has been built. This was one of two Portuguese surfers, Frederico Magalhães.
Yeah, so that's a good start for Magalhães. That's how he got a 5.83. I think it was at 5.83 this left. So Portuguese showing a bit of spray, bit of a wide stance, been hanging up there, and that was his best wave. And that so far means he's in second place. But it was this man here, Portelli, he was on fire. This is a great second turn and a 6.9. So really, really solid, and then immediately backed it up. Didn't even have priority for this wave, it was in third priority, but just in good positioning in the lineup. Floats over that section, gets one more in, a bit late, but still completes it. So Portelli just about to, well, he's in first. It looks like no one's going to come and grab him. It's that race for second, as it often tends to be. That's where the interest is. 2 minutes 45 seconds to go.
Well, as you mentioned, Portelli out front, care of that 6.9. That really is the weight of the heat for the heat lead. Everybody else kind of floating in that 4 and 5 point category. Magalhães finding the 5.83. And now Souza went up to third, but has bumped back down because Vieira, one of two Portuguese surfers, has found another number in the lineup here. Vieira at 3.67. Let's have a look at the replay here for one of two Portuguese surfers here.
Yeah, they did a 5.24. First turn's pretty strong. Snap in the pocket. Bit of open wall. Can he finishes it? Another fourth turn. So he's giving it a shake. 5.24. Oh, Vieira. Yeah, he's waiting for his score. What did I get? What did I get? So it looks like,
well, you'll be hearing he's up to third again, but still, Ben, a requirement of 5.24. A work ahead here. He hasn't got anything close to that on his scorecard. 4.27 is his best effort. So he's got to lift the game here. As must Souza, fourth place surfer in green, down in fourth, looking for a 6.03. So all to play for here with under 90 seconds to go. Of course, Magalhães lending an ear to all of this because he is on that cut-off point in the top two.
looks like he's going to pull the trigger. Goes down his backhand. Nice green wall. Bit of a top turn, a bit stuck. Gets another one in. A little bit of a fin release. He needed to improve on a 3.67. And then they're coming thick and fast. Souza. Wow, that's better surfing from Souza. 2 better turns. Potentially his best wave of the day, but he still needed a 6. Quite a big ask in these conditions. So we'll just see where he got to with that. A big flurry of activity in the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes. Lots of waves ridden. And it's all very, very tight. And again, there's more. Here's the heat leader. He's probably the only guy that can be very relaxed. Kind of shows in his surfing. Nice and relaxed. Nice camera angle there. Crisp. Finishes. His job is done. He knows he's won the heat. He's happy. It just comes down to this race. The second.
Well, down to 10 seconds here, Ben.
Miguel's got a 4.23. Yeah, it looks like it's all over. So Patelli's out in front. Miguel's in second. Of heat number 4. Fortunately for Gonçalo Vieira and Cana Souza, their Caparica competitive experience is over. So, but right now, we're going to go to a commercial break, come back, and we'll be back here for Heat 5 of round 1. Stay tuned.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
And we are back live here at Caparica in Brazil, in Portugal, for this incredible event. I saw the Brazilian player. Kano Souza, though, he's out. He's in fourth. Gonçalo Vieira in third. He is also finished his event, but Frederico Magalhães and the informed Christian Portelli are through. That's the official results for the last heat, but the new heat is in. Gabriel Morville, Felipe Chagas, Afonso Atunes, and Kayawada, another international field. The American, Brazilian, Portuguese, and Japan battling it out in the sort of fun beaches here, if slightly kind of damp conditions down here on the beach, Paul Evans.
Yes, it is a bit damp. However, we've already seen a couple of sparky performances. Here goes Kayawada looking to light things up on a meaty left-hander. Belts the end section. I'm really looking forward to seeing Afonso Antunes, surf course winner of the Pro Junior event up at Espino, and he's been the kind of Portuguese wonder kid, almost like the next Kick-Ass. So let's see how he goes. He's been hyped since he was tiny, that little Grom, and he's a great surfer. He's kind of duking it out with some of the French juniors of the same age, and now he's stepping up into the QS 3000. This will be a big opportunity for him. But Kai Awada saw an opportunity early on, and it's a really well surfed wave. Belted that one. There's a big difference between the decent waves and the not so good ones out here, and that's really been reflected score-wise. And a reasonable number comes in as a 4. And so we're just seeing a bit of blue sky poking through, mate. I'd say things are on the up. Tide's going to swirl in and just fill in this bank a bit. I think the sun's going to burst through. It's warming up. Crowds getting thicker on the beach, and Evans is back in the booth. So it's kind of win-win.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, to see the age 15, that Paul Evans, of course we won't reveal his true number on the screen, but yeah, it's positive out there. I like your positivity, Paul. Surfs, we got the waves, that's the main thing. Yeah. I mean, the crowds will come. This competition site, powered by Oakley here, is just huge. There's so much to do. So there's a pretty sick skate bowl out there. There's a junior event, there's a skimboarding event, there's a sailboarding event. Probably a foiling event. There's everything down here. It's just the hub of all things surfing.
I'm surprised there are any surf fans still left from wherever they live, because most of the sort of community has come down here to Caparica. Meanwhile, that's a great little kind of tweak at the end of his turn there from Morville. Really nicely done. And Chagas, it's a flurry of activity. Chagas is ripping up Santa Cruz. Doesn't mind catching a wave, that guy. And he belted that one on the end. So nice little exchange there. Morville, you enjoyed that end little turn there.
Yeah, got an audible breath of excitement from me. It sort of looked like it was going to be pretty standard. He managed to whip around the tail at the end. I saw a flash of fins. And yeah, strong start for Morville. And here we have just a wider score coming in for that big sort of backhand belt was a 4. Judges don't go pretty crazy today the only rounds, Paul. They like to keep a bit of change in their pocket.
The judges don't go crazy at all today. They're just, really level-headed type of folk. Let's check out Chagas' backside. And he doesn't get quite what he was after. Just buried the nose a little bit on that one. Here's the replay of Morville. Good first turn from him. And he goes down the line. He spies this section. He did really well to get that done in there. We've seen a lot of people getting caught on that section, and he looked like he had the better of it. A 6.67 comes in, which is massive. Here goes Atunes, the Grom, second place up in Espino, and he smashed that one. He's been highly rated for a long time. He's rocking the short arm, which I like. Good display of intent there. Doesn't need sleeves to have a good time.
Yeah, only 15. Still like a sort of stocky little built sort of guy. Looks got a lot of power to come and he's surfing. Pretty smooth there as well. Show a whole lot of nerves. 5.5. But yeah, 6.67 for Morville was the one that we got a little bit excited about. Good reason.
Yeah, as we're saying,
pretty huge score.
Big crowd, big gathering of the tribe type vibes down here in Caparica, but still do have plenty of people watching online from home. We'll get you caught up with some tweets early this morning. There's plenty coming in. It's kind of blowing up, actually, the Twitter. And speaking of blowing up, here goes Antunes. Just belting this thing. Nice little variety out the back, and then such smart contest surfing. He's only young, but he looks like he's already got plenty of competitive now. So there's a great hit from Morville, your heat leader. Sorry, he's in second place at the moment. He's just looking for a backup score, but he's got the high score by far, 6.67, and he'll back that up. Will count for him. Roger Blunt down in Perranporth, near Newquay.
Blunty.
He's online. He's really enjoying the surf. Let's stick with live action for now. Here goes Shaggers. And another right-hander for him. And he might just go push a little less hard on this because they want to post a score, and he's done that. So, he fell on his first one, and he made sure he got a completion then. Roger says, yeah, great show, guys. Really enjoying it. Wants to know, Ben, what you got up to on the weekend. Did you find anything to do in between surf events? Were you just doing yoga and staying hydrated, and getting up early and stretching, or did you do anything a little bit more fun?
Pressed both worlds, Paul.
Roger.
Yeah, we went down, had our post-event debrief, as we like to do. Really go through the content, what worked, what didn't,
wrong,
what worked,
horribly wrong,
what didn't work so well.
Sometimes it's called a post-mortem, isn't it?
Yeah, we did that down in Navasera. Stayed at the La Pointe down there at the lovely surf camp. Went out, had some dinner, had a bit of a dance, more debriefing, and then got up the next morning pretty early, went and surfed some of those local beaches around Navasera. You know, shrugged off the discotheque and had us down to Caparica for Sunday afternoon, kind of check.
Pretty solid sort of 4 to 5 hours straight on the dance floor for Monday, wasn't it? In the Aristo discotheque. Here goes live action. Antunes ripping a nice first turn. Such a solid surfer. And just belting again, and that's how you put together. Oh, wow. And he goes back left and belts it and goes all floppy. He likes it. And he's looking really great. There's his pops and strong support crew down here. He's been talked about in Portugal for quite a while now. The one upcoming surfer, similar to Vasco, similar to Frederico. They pick him young down here and they back him.
Yeah, well, look at this. He drives off. Nice little sharp turn in the pocket. There's a lot of little wedge in this. And then you think it's not a lot sort of done, and then he does this. That was pretty solid, and then somehow gets in the backhand turn as well. So, yeah, really good, strong, 6.30. That puts him up in the lead. So the Romet is absolutely showing no nerves whatsoever. It can't be easy surfing big QS 3000 in home in Portugal. It's showing no nerves whatsoever. What can Morville come back with? Not that. It's a weird drop knee kind of cut back pull out.
Waves looking a lot better though for me, Monday. A lot better this morning. It's that sort of really tricky double up kind of closeout. Seems like there's a little bit more water on there right now. And we've got some nicer kind of smoother walls. And Antunes looking really, really strong so far. That's why Dad's all smiles. He obviously he's got good sponsors, but basically doesn't use much of his clothing allowance. He just wears a white t-shirt with a black leather jacket and a blue jean.
Who does?
Fonzie.
Does he? Oh, yeah.
Fonzarelli? No?
Yeah, no, we do. Fonzie, yeah. Yeah, really impressive. Morville had that one big score, so he's still within touch of Afonso, but it's the Chagas and Awada who's really starting to need a kick up. 10 minutes ago, these 20-minute heats, they go fast, don't they? Well, they take exactly 20 minutes, funnily enough, but that's not a long time in terms of getting 2 scoring waves in a heat.
Yeah, but Ben, you know, I like to ask the big question. Do different people perceive time differently? Is time the same to everyone? Is a second the same as a second?
It's a philosophical question. I think in terms of heat structure, yeah, a second's a definite second. It's sort of linked to our path of the Earth around the sun, I would say.
It's, yeah.
Which is measurable.
Also to do with your temporal resolution, so it's the flicker in your eye, basically. So if you think of like strip lights, they're actually flickering, or any lights. You know, we've got alternating current. They're actually flickering on and off, but our eyes don't perceive it. It just sees it as a light being on all the time. Yeah, good chat, good talk. Good
That's
talk.
more about the way light operates in your eyeballs rather than time, though, doesn't it? At the back of Fonzo, his eye and eyeballs are working. I'll tell you what, in tandem, and he's looking strong. He's looking relaxed, no nerves. Already got the lead. Then he's starting to express himself.
Yeah, looking really good. Afonso Atunes down here. A really strong start from him. And he's on a bit of a tear. Big result in the Pro Junior. And he's loving to try and do some damage in the main event down here. The QS 3000, powered by Oakley in Caparica. He's already got some strong experience down here. And he'd be looking to really just cause an upset with the surfers older in years, but not necessarily wiser in terms of surfing now. So he's looking really strong. I love the way he's attacking the shorey. He's shown the variety already. He's shown a pretty solid score. Morville's gone slightly better, but he's got a good total built up. Out here goes the American. He's flying down the line. He's found some good right-handers. Now he'll go with a rotation. You saw the back foot come off, and he's down.
Yeah, and Tunes, like that second place in the Pro Junior. The Pro Juniors are obviously very important. There's a whole circuit which decides the European Junior Champion, and then that European Junior Champion gets to go to the WSL World Titles held at the start of the year. As we just see, two late hits from the Japanese surfer, but the second one he just can't swing it around. So yeah, that Junior Series is a pretty important pathway as well.
And possibly even more of a prize than that, Mundy, is you get the wildcard into the 10,000s as well in your region. So
that's the European champion, not the junior champion. But we will confirm that. Look at that rotation, so fast. And yeah, really, really fast, strong surfing. He's out in front, 11.8, Afonso. Where's his sort of home break? Where did he grow up surfing, Paul? In Portugal. We'll check that as well. Awada, right behind the 8 ball though. He's not completing his moves. I think Morville's got that one big score, but he's been a bit sloppy after that, hasn't he? Hasn't really managed to sort of get any scores apart from that one big one, and he's done a few throwaway airs. He's had a few opportunities. Okay, so right now, after this wave, we'll cross down to the beach as we see the Brazilian Chagas. That's the goofy footer style we saw last week that was working a lot. A big open face hack. Right, he's back in the heat. But right now, we're going to go down to Giggs, who was the heat winner, and a bit more beach action. Take it away, Giggs.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, boys. So you're making reference to the junior surfing that's going on. I'm here with Joel Alfonso. Your son got runner-up in the Espinho a day or two back in the juniors.
Yes, we've been in Espinho with the great waves. I got second there. It's good. The pro junior start to have a very good level, the kids. So we come here to Caparica, do the QS, and the next, another Pro Junior.
Yeah, good. Of course, everything going on here in Caparica this week, the whole Surf Fest, bringing everybody together here in the region. That performance level that's going on that you spoke about in the juniors, you think that some of the juniors can get through some heats here in the QS?
Oh, for sure. What I see this last few days in Espinho, for sure, you get waves, 10-point rides, like really, really good surf. And the kids, they're going huge now. Huh? Big aerials, big barrels, and good lines, good rail. They put adult surf right now.
And Joel, conditions here, you've been here, you've been to many events in this Costa de Caparica region. What are you thinking for the week, and also the tide coming in, what are you thinking for today?
Oh, it's going to be a awesome weekend. It's going to be waves every day, and the forecast looking very good for the week. I hope the guys have a lot of fun here.
Muito obrigado. Looks like Magic Seaweed got it right, boys. Tide's coming in. The scores are lifting, so's the wave quality.
Thanks, Gigs. Yeah, well, insight there into Afonso from his dad. Main outtake from that, Paul. The kids are ripping. That was what I take from that.
Yeah, future's bright, mate. Absolutely. And I had a little chat with Patrick Bevan down there earlier.
Yeah, so did I.
Who's a previous winner down here on the QS, and he's coaching with Noah Dupuy as well. Another one of the great, bright sort of hopes from France. So much talent down there in those junior ranks. Pretty cool to see the kids getting a chance to get a start in the QS as well, and just kind of rub shoulders with some of the sort of grizzled old veterans, some of the journeymen on the QS, and maybe take some names. Let's check out Chagas here. And he started off with a bit of a shocker. He's sort of rallied himself and got back in it with a 5.17 previous to that. There's an error from him. He loves that layback turn. He's like a slightly more sort of beefed up version of Christian Kimmerson. Here goes Gabriel Morville. Good backhand whack from him. I love the speed he generates, this guy. And he gets a second turn away. Hopefully, from his point of view, he's going to say bye to that 2.67, which is just kind of blighting his scorecard a little bit, because he still does have the high score.
That's right. And Chagas came back at him with a 5.17, so he definitely got closer. He got a 3.37 for that one, so he's improved it a little bit, but not a whole lot. Now Chagas needs a 4.88. These sets coming rolling through the competition area. And we're going to go to a heat recap, check out exactly how we got to this point in time. So this is Morville. What a start. We love this. Little nice turn, and this big manoeuvre here is what the judges like the most. Sick little airdrop at the end. I love that manoeuvre.
Yeah, hard to appreciate just how difficult that is on that steep little shorey section, that brown water getting churned up. And here he goes. The little air reverse. It doesn't come off for him. And meanwhile, this guy, your heat leader, absolutely belted that. Look at this. Then he goes with a kind of a rail carved snap off the top. And he spies this section coming at him and just belts it, drifts the tail slightly. And that's a really well put together wave, and he wasn't quite done there. He got even more into it on this one. Smashed it a couple of times, and he still finds this double up, belts it, and even goes back again for one more clip on the end, and it came in as a 6.3. So improved on his 5.5 with that. That's why he's in first place.
Yeah, really strong. No nerves. Few mistakes. He's got the lead. Now it's all eyes on Chagas, who is in third. Doesn't have priority, but it's quite a big competitive zone out there, so he should be able to get away from his competitors. They're just getting mowed down by these solid sets, though. So 2 minutes on the clock.
We like to compare surfers from different generations and a sort of hypothetical sort of mix of talents. Afonso Atunes at 15. Compare that from what you remember from a Vasco or a Kikesh at the same age. What do you reckon, Mundy?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I put you on the spot there, haven't I?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I probably didn't see those guys as much as you when they were that age, but I think probably ahead of them in many ways. I know that Richard Dog Marsh said that always Freddie was, you could see he worked with him from a real young age, and he could see the potential, but it wasn't, you know, sort of a blinding. He had to work quite hard on it. He knew that there was real talent there, but it hadn't really been in any way sort of shaped. So I think he's probably had the potential, but not the actual form on the board at that age. Vasco was probably a little bit similar. Atunes, from what I've seen, is not a whole lot, I'll be honest, but he already looks like he's got more of a competitive package together at a young age.
Maybe more of like a natural kind of ability. Those two like really good competitors at a young age, but maybe weren't as impressive. Just a sort of natural surfing ability. Looks like still very young, but Antunes just looks like absolutely that natural talent that's just got so much to offer. Looks really relaxed, kind of all parts throughout his wave. And coaching's such a big part, obviously, of putting together a career right now, but you don't want to look overcoached. You want to look natural, and kind of spontaneous and dynamic, and Antunes absolutely looks that. As we'll count down, he's leading the heat here. We're going to go close to that 30-second mark. So Chagas, can he get a 4.88? He had a reasonably decent week up in Santa Cruz, but it looks like his week down here in Caparica is going to come to a premature end unless he can nail himself a score.
Yes. nose as we see Atunas though eyeing off a little right-hander again. That nice clean wave face on this one. Got a lot of speed. He might go big here. He looks like he's eyeing for something. And a little sort of a rock and roll to nowhere. So that's 5 seconds all over. That's a good point about the coaching, Paul. And I'd like to come back to that, have a further discussion about that.
Mate, we've got all day, so
yeah, I don't
worry about that.
I don't want to I don't want to save it for our own private chat to break. I want to really, dig deep online.
Let's have a look at the official scorecard. Here it is, and a comprehensive victory from Afonso Atunas. A solid, healthy heat total, 11-8 to the Portuguese. Him and the American Gabriel Morville advanced. Chagas and Awada are out. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back with more live action. Heat 6 of round 1, the Caparica Pro, powered by Oakley. Coming at you after this.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
To Costa Caparica, and that's our lineup down here between the jetties. Paradise Beach, a huge showing of the surf community. The competitive area is absolutely packed, and everyone's watching with beady eyes what's going to happen down in this next one. Another Portuguese, Eduardo Fernandes, takes on Keanu Kamiyama from Japan. Out of Spain, Gonzalo Gutierrez Vidal, and of course the big man, the strapping Roman out of Italy, Robbie D'Amico, one of Monday's favourite surfers. He's a big, powerful lad, and he was fired up. He was pretty stoked on conditions, and here he goes with a strong start and a meaty left-hander. I thought it maybe looked a little bit tentative last week. Monday, is that fair appraisal?
Yeah, he did. He didn't have the confidence that he usually has, for sure, and just a little bit. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. And he paid for it in the end. He didn't get a good result up there, so we want to make amends pretty quick. Yeah, we talked about that coaching before and how being overcoached is a bit of an issue. I know I've spoken to Andy King about that problem. Andy King, who's now coaching Julian Wilson, but was also the former head of the Australian High Performance. And he said that, he was really worried about the last sort of 5 years, how that overcoaching and the issues it was bringing with surfers. Yeah, obviously just ironing out any kinks or any flaws and leading to a real sort of sameness about a lot of the surfing. And he said that John Florence is probably one of the best things that happened in terms of that, because he was so raw, and they were telling him that he was originally told to change some of his sort of not awkward style, but sort of unique style, as you just see. Just took his style, Kamiyama, going ham. Yeah, and he kept it in his surfing because he was so raw, he didn't need to be coached, he was just obviously too good, and people sort of swung around the idea that you could be yourself, you could have a sort of individual style, and even that Atunas there had a bit of like the flailing arm of John about him. Lower arm, which is really distinctive. So, yeah, it's getting that mix, isn't it, between of improving your surfing, improving your technique, and not becoming some type of robotic clone.
Well, now at the elite level, of course, think about Medina and think about Italo, and it's almost gone like the other way. They're all just like totally unique talents, and it'd be hard to think how you would kind of coach that into him, like particularly Italo, just so natural with the way he surfs.
Yeah, so spontaneous, isn't he? He's not
free surfing in a heat, basically.
Yeah, he's not thinking it through. He's just literally going a million miles an hour and doing whatever comes into his mind. Going huge. Of course, the bells. Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach is on soon. Kicks off pretty soon. And Italo, the defending champion. And also coming off the back of the win in the Gold Coast. So he'll be on dangerous. If he wins one down there, I have to put him up there for favourite of the world title.
Very early to be talking about that, Monday. Very early indeed.
Well, he's won 4 out of the last 12 events. I mean, it's no small stat. 3 last year, one this year. Anyway, He's already rung it once. Sort of destroyed the Mick Fanning retirement party kind of dream narrative from last year, which I enjoyed. Thought it was getting a little bit too much, a little too much kind of attention, a little too many speeches. Anyway, 16 minutes have remaining in this heat though, and a 4.33. We saw that right-hander of Keanu Kamiyama. He was the one that got off to the only real start at 4.33. Robbie, Eduardo, and Gonzalo all looking to get their Caparica event underway.
Lines marching in here. D'Amico just goes through one. You can see a little pulse and size down there.
There's Lisbon.
A beautiful skyline, the famous Lisbon skyline. And we're going to hear from the kid of the moment. And he's on a tear. There's Alfonso Atunes, and he's down there with Giggsy.
Yeah, thanks, boys. He's been absolutely blitzing, making a finals up in Espino with the juniors, and now a fresh heat to win here in the first round.
Yeah, I feel like super confident on this comp because yesterday I got runner-up finish in Espino, and I was a bit like super excited for this heat today, so I started like a bit nervous, but I think I could make two mediocre waves, and made the heat.
And you were telling me that you're from Santa Cruz, so you weren't in that QS 3000. So a chance now this week to make some numbers on the QS ladder.
Yeah, I hope so, because next year I'm gonna try to focus a little bit more on the QS, and it's good to earn some points.
So lots of murmurs and stories going on in my ear that you could be the next big hope from Portugal. How do you feel about pressure like that?
Actually, I don't feel any pressure. I feel super. That gives me more confidence to do what I love, and hopefully I can be an ex Kikas or Thiago Pires. I don't know. Hopefully.
Well, keep on track, mate. You're doing a good job. Back to you, boys.
Yeah, thanks, Giggsy. Cool interview there from Afonso. Let's go straight to live action. Here goes Kamiyama, a Japanese surfer ripping onto the inside bowl, belts the lip. We talked about kind of style, and he's got that kind of hand jive, jazz hands thing going as well. Got that kind of skinny, limbed thing, which is generally good for your style. Meanwhile, the brute, the big, powerful Italian out of Banzai in Rome, and doesn't get a connection he was looking for down on the ends. And interesting, he said hopefully he could be the next Kikas or Thiago. I would aim a bit higher than that. Maybe your own man. Be the next Afonso Atunes.
Well, true, but I mean, the question was put to him. I thought he dealt with that quite well, because it's such a hard one. But, you know, you say, oh, no, I'm not thinking that far ahead, or no. He's just like, look, that's not a bad goal to have, you know. Like, kind of embrace that, set your ambitions. You know, he didn't dodge the question. He said, yeah, why not? You know, hopefully I can get there. That's his dream.
Who were some of your commentary heroes that you were hoping to emulate when you were at Grom, Andy?
Growing up, probably the ones I did the most sort of tapes of and that type of thing. I'd put the audio on and just listen. Well, it's a good question.
Do you take inspiration from other sports?
Well,
are you a real purist when it comes to surf commentary?
Yeah,
is it just natural talent?
Well,
is it just your own innate talent?
Yeah, I just, you know, you talk about being your own Afonso Atunes. I just try and be my own Ben Mundy every single day of the week. As we see Robbie D'Amico just get the fins out. Oh, he's having a shocker, Robbie, at the moment. He's got to reset here. He's just making a lot of mistakes, and he can, you know, he knows he's better than that. There's conditions out there. If you get a couple of waves, you've got to make the most of them. Darryl Eastlake was quite a famous surf commentator in Australia on the Australian scene. Before webcast, of course. Kids out there won't remember such days, but they did exist. As we see Fernandez trying to get around this next section. Gets two in, hasn't he? Big turns here. He's got one more. Gets the fins out, slides around, finishes off. Bart Lynch, I always, you know, I mean, he was one of my favourite surfers, but whenever he spoke about surfing, I always listened.
All right, Gonzalo Gutierrez there. His first wave, he's gone the long arm springy. Interesting choice of rubber from him, and he tried to belt a left-hander through to the inside. He's getting, just paddling back out. We do have, it seems like a lot more impetus in the swell. I don't know if it's picked up or it's just coming on the shelf a little bit. We really bottomed out on that tide, didn't we, this morning? And now it seems like the set's really kind of stacking up. just allowing a lot more energy to unload. Let's see what our Portuguese Goofy got done here. He's got a ton of speed. And he slashed up high in the lip and got a little bit held at the bottom of the wave. And he brought this one all the way through and gave it some good guns on the end there with a little release that he kind of handled pretty well. So a reasonably well put together wave for Fernandes. He's already got a 5.33. That's the high score of this heat so far. And he's going to get a 5 for that one. He's going to go into first place, 11 on the clock. It's Portugal, Japan, you 1-2. D'Amico out of Italy. It's really not hit his stride so far in this one. Gonzalo Gutierrez, just one wave ridden. And it's going to be a case of, can D'Amico just find that little bit of confidence? He just seems to be surfing a bit within himself, not really backing himself into these sections. Can he turn it around Monday? It's live action. We're going to stick with Gonzalo.
Gonzalo, Gutierrez, Vidal just coming stuck in that third one. Just waiting for his scores to drop. He's got the kind of Nacho Gonzalo-esque kind of spray on the board there.
Don't like it.
I like it. Kind of almost black and white sort of Greg Knoll board short pattern, quite a famous pattern in surfing board shorts. I put that to Nacho Gonzalez was talking to me, and he goes, who's Greg Knoll? I was like, okay. He said it wasn't inspiration. He didn't know who he is.
He modelled it after the Everton Mint. You know the Everton Mint? Just stripy like that, one of the great boiled sweets. I don't know if...
Well, in fact, his girlfriend she designed it, so all of that is not true. I know for a fact. Out the back, though, Fernandes is getting stuck. He's got 2 5s, though, so he's turned his heat around.
Were the boiled sweets big in Australia back in the day? In England, it was massive. You go to the local sort of corner shop and you used to buy them. You buy a quarter.
Still can.
You buy in a little paper bag. They weigh it out for you. And you get little sweeties in a paper bag.
Yeah, we used to get sweeties. We call them lollies. Yeah, and we'd get them in a paper bag, but yeah, not in the kind of measuring stick that the UK still have them. I've been to them quite a bit. The kids love them, don't they? All big walls are full of like sweets. Yeah, boiled lollies, good chat, good times.
9:15 remaining in this one. Fernandes of Portugal flying the flag just like his compatriot Antunes did in the previous heat. And a really statement performance there from the junior, just 15 years old. Looking so strong in that previous heat. And the Portuguese surfers loving being on home turf, of course. Frederico Moraes, we've been talking about him. Big winner last week in that previous event. And 3,000 huge QS points going his way towards getting back on tour. He wasn't expecting to find himself on the QS this year, and he's just having to deal with it as we see Robbie D'Amico, man-size Italian, going off the top a couple of times. Nice rhythm. It's better stuff from Robbie.
Yeah, he needed that. He needed just to get his confidence back. So, see the last of blue first as we see Keanu. Nice first turn. He's got a really nice style. Oh, and a little bit of head jive. A bit of head jive to add, half a point potentially. And yeah.
All right, Robbie's got a 3.57. So he does improve. It's his high score. He's kind of got himself back in this now. And he's a 5.36 with 8 to go on the clock. So finally got himself a reasonable-ish score. It's still not a great number, but in the context of the way the scoring's been going.
Of course, speaking the commentary sort of angle, Paul, you're obviously quite old, and you're around probably some of the formative kind of early CT webcast days. What are the main differences you sort of see between those heady days of early CT broadcasts versus the current kind of setups?
Well, just to see live action here of Fernandes going down. Oh, well, mate, the production's just insane these days, isn't it? Amazing to see all the angles we got. Obviously, cameras have come on quite a lot since then as well. And surfing, really, the production level's pretty mind-blowing. Sometimes the production's actually better than the surfing. I often think it's my main takeaway.
And often the commentary's better than the production.
But there's next heat there, Caparica out of France, just getting kind of zen and getting his focus on.
Yeah, he's had some big backing. He's been over in Hawaii this year, training with the Billabong Bloodlines sort of group. So
yeah, but commentary inspiration. I was always a big fan of Lord Tally-Ho Bliss from Hawaii.
Yeah,
Former pro wrestler, sort of legendary beach announcer on the North Shore.
Yeah, yeah. he was a legend.
He sort of had a little bit of a Rodney Dangerfield vibe to his commentary, which I always really appreciated.
Yeah, you'd get the sort of sports specials on, wouldn't you, where they'd be like the Hawaiian Sunset sort of World Cup would come on, and tally-ho was all over it. As we see, some nice sort of more powerful turns from Gutierrez. So he's got only a 2.33. Is the Italian. First turn's better, and he's just not picking up the good wave. 6 minutes to go. He got a 3.57. Now he needs a 5.36. Still in the game. Pretty close.
Yeah,
of course, Dave Stansfield was sort of a bit of a rock of the early commentary era.
He's still going as well.
Yeah, he's probably doing a pro junior in Venice Beach right now as we speak.
Loves it. Yeah, and he thinks that some of the early events, like some of the kind of looseness that was allowed to be unleashed. I remember Carwyn Williams being unleashed on an event in Newquay in the sort of early 90s.
That's interesting choice.
He was just sort of roaming around the beach with kind of like a radio headset.
Yeah, and a can of beer.
Yeah. So, yeah, the broad surfing family of kind of commentary and just hanging at the beach. And, you know, broadcasting, you can't make it down here, you can tune in from home.
Well, surfing was a real pioneer in that regard. There wasn't so many sports that were doing those live webcasts. Surfing, I think, probably virtual fact that it was hard to get TV, you know, live TV, because it just goes for so long and it's hard to condense into a real watchable package. So instead of waiting for anyone else to do it, the surfing and the ASP back then just did it themselves. You know, and back in Tahiti, I remember doing one in Tahiti in the early days, and like, just, you know, they had no generators. They were like literally patching in like cables from boats that was setting out to sea, like real overcoming huge technical issues, and yeah, just so people could watch surfing.
Yeah. Let's go to a heat recap as we count down. We just see the end of a wave from a Japanese surfer, Kamiyama. Let's check out the story of this one so far. And it was Kamiyama out the gates. Belted this for a 4.33 early doors. And he gave a little bit of a statement of intent. See that deep bottom turn that he leans into as he smashes off the top a couple of times. Doesn't get the completion on the last turn, but nevertheless, it was a reasonable number for him. And he backed that up with a 4.6, so going slightly higher with this one. And nicely finished on the inside.
Yeah, he's looking strong. Nice style. But this is the man Fernandez out in front. Sort of warmed up each wave. He's got better and better. That was really smooth. Nice surfing.
A little bit of the Paulo Moura about him. Would you say the Brazilian goofy foot? He got a bigger left-hander here, and he clipped off the top. Got a little caught on the bottom and did well to reconnect with an insides. And he bashed this one.
Made the CT Moura one here, didn't he? I think. Okay, yeah, so good recap there. And that sees Eduardo Fernandez out in front. Keanu Kamiyama. Already had one Japanese surfer. He was a nice fella, wasn't he, Kento, when you just chatted one of the early heat winners?
Yeah, really cool dude. Really cool dude. Good English as well. And he's saying this is what it's like at home when there's a typhoon swell. So this is just sort of a run-of-the-mill swell down here. He said the wave he surfs is always like pretty small, like sort of 1 to 2 foot. It's like kind of a solid day. And he says if they get a typhoon, it gets like this, as we see a big old belt out the back. That's our Spanish surfer Gutierrez. And that was a meaty section for him. And he got late to it, but he did get the completion in. And the set's just pouring on through out here. Swell's jumping up. We've got plenty of it through this week. We've got the Magic Seaweed forecast, which looks reasonably favourable. D'Amico's making his way in. Something wrong with Robbie. He's plenty of time. Is he just repositioning in the lineup? I hope he's not hurt himself, but he's making his way in. Maybe it's just a tactical reposition to a different part of the wave, but it's weird to see him coming in like that with just under 3 minutes to go. He's in 4th at the moment. Maybe he's just got a long wave down by the wall there.
Yeah, see Robbie, he would never come in early unless there was something going on. But he might just be getting back out, trying to find a rip. As we see, the last wave of white was his backhand belt, a 3.57 for this. He's creeping back into the game, but he still needs a 4.26. 2 minutes on the clock. A lot of opportunities. Each surfer has surfed 5 waves, so here we go. Comes around the corner, gets it up. Probably just lacked that real wow factor. 3.57 solid, but to get a 1 wave turn, you needed to go a bit more radical than that, get the fins out or a bit of air or something progressive, and he did manage it.
Yeah, while it was a technically difficult manoeuvre, it didn't look super impressive visually. As you said, he didn't do much with his line, did he? Just kind of nursed his board up there a bit. He did well not to get blasted, but it's not a huge score from him. And almost, maybe that section almost looked a little bit too big to go into a hard turn. So really testing conditions out here. We do love a shore break that blows up in Portugal. And the power of the ocean here, just sort of delivering fireworks and delivering the drama. As we go down towards that 1 minute mark, it's still our Portuguese surfer. So could we see another Portugueser make it through? At the moment, he's taking the Japanese shredder Kamiyama along with him. D'Amico's looks all right. He's getting back in the lineup, but he's got an awful lot to do, Robbie, and he needs a good score. Not a crazy score. He only needs 5, 3, 6 to go from 4th up into an advancing position. But just the way this heat's gone, just the opportunities he's had 5 scores under 2 points. So not gone his way. There's the beautiful Lisbon skyline in an epic capital city. Of course, it's got all that sort of culture of a kind of metropolitan capital, but it's also on the beach, and just a short drive or train ride if you're heading down to Cascais. But in either direction, or we get the boat over here as well, so plenty of access to beautiful surfing beaches from Lisbon. Here goes your heat leader, Eduardo Fernandes of Portugal. Goes for the punts, doesn't stick the rotation, he won't care. He's going to hear the horn shortly, and unless something crazy's happened out the back, well, let's just stick with live. It's Kamiyama, and he also goes for the air himself. It's incomplete, and it won't change a lot. We're due 1 number I can see on the scoreboard for Gutierrez Monday. Let's just confirm. 4.26 was his requirement.
Yeah, so didn't need much, but we'll just see that one of Fernandez not going to change anything. There's Kamiyama just checking. He's done and dusted. He's coming in. Is another score going to come in?
No, it's 1-4. It's not going to change anything. So it's Portugal and Japan are 1-2. We're going to go to break. We'll be back with more live action after this.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
Welcome back live to the beach, Costa Caparica Ocean Surf Fest, powered by Oakley. There's the official results of the last heat. Fernandez, Kamiyama in 1-2. So Portugal and Japan in the ascendancy in that one. And Vidal of Spain and D'Amico of Italy bow out. I'm Paul Evans, joining me in the booth for the call. Geek Cilius, welcome back, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Looking at those conditions there, Paul, definitely tide pushing in, improving conditions somewhat.
Yeah, a bit more swell getting in, just filtering in on that outside sandbar and offering more opportunity, scores nudging up, which we like. Next heat on deck, we've got a Frenchman, Thiago Caparica, taking on Braden Jones from America, Enzo Poulat from France, and Ian Costa out of Brazil. Costa looked impressive in the early rounds last week in Santa Cruz. A big guy, that kind of powerful frame. I wonder if he'll make that pay out here as we see live action early on. And this looks like it's Braden Jones from America. The goofy bashes a nice backhand hit, and he wasn't done then. And just belted one real quick off the whitewater as well. So a strong start from him. We got a number dropping in for one of our Frenchmen, Caparica, He's in red out there. And he's already got himself a reasonable score. His 20-minute heat's absolutely flying by. It's a 4.33 in for Caparica. And that's going to be a decent start for him, Giggs. As the skies get a bit dark, we've had sort of a bit of everything. Springtime, classic spring weather. Bring everything to the beach, as we'll just stick with live. Here goes Pula. He's a powerful guy, Enzo. And he's belting this a couple of times. And not really finding an inside section that he was hoping for, but nevertheless, he finishes off on his board. A little bit of wind kicking in off the ocean right now and just asking different questions.
I was just going to say that sort of a real little push in the westerly wind. But the good part, I guess, of this all is, Paul, is that the westerly wind will continue to keep the swell steady and, in fact, even build it a little bit. Magic Seaweed just giving us those positive reports. We have seen scores going north of the 5 more frequently now.
Yeah, definitely. Scores are getting healthy. And it's amazing when you sort of check the surf, or you're just looking at it as a free surfer, someone on holiday, like when it's on shore, you're thinking, if you kind of took the temperature of the guys on the QS, they're all stoked because they travel to so many events where it's waist high or underpowered. And like for these weeks in Portugal, they're just stoked that there's waves. You know, it's not as solid out here, but there's still plenty of size down there on offer and plenty of power and push. Speaking of which, Ian Costa looking strong on the inside. He's a really impressive guy in these kind of crossed up conditions. And he definitely does have that strong physique. He's able to match the power of the Atlantic Ocean down here. And he's given a decent account of himself on his first wave.
Yeah, no complaints from anyone in the field. Of course, starting this morning with 144 surfers in the draw. That's excluding the junior numbers, and that's excluding the women's as well, the young ladies as well. So it's a massive surf fest here. Of course, the Costa Rica region here, Costa Rica, Caparica, just playing host now to like a surf festival. Let's call it that, because that's what it is.
Yeah, it's huge and really cool to see. For example, the juniors out here been able to mix it around in a kind of US and just, even if they're not in the event, just being in and around and kind of feeding off the energy of some of the free surfing and the competing that's going on from our men and our women. As we see Enzo Pula just trying to get onto the open face on a right-hander. And he's a strapping young lad, a really powerful frame, easily up in that 80-kilo bracket. As we saw, of course, 2 of the bigger, stronger guys make the final last week in Santa Cruz. So maybe a reflection of these like powerful beach breaks. You think of beach break specialists, you're generally thinking about kind of lighter guys on their feet.
Yeah.
Like Federica Moraes and Ramsey Bukiam. Both up 6'1", 80 kilos plus, and both absolutely ripping in Santa Cruz.
And I was going to make reference, you know, to me, the Japanese did fall early in Santa Cruz, most of them, including one of them is sitting top 10 on the qualifying series. So, yeah, pushy conditions here. This is a little bit more of a balanced playing field this time around. It's not those big heaving rip bowls. I mean, we had solid overhead waves all week last week in Santa Cruz. This year, more the sort of chest to shoulder high, but there's push, there's consistency, and no complaints from any of our QS grinders, that is for sure.
QS2, QS 3000s down here in Portugal. And a key part of the season for many of our campaigners, looking to get some momentum going just ahead of those big 10,000s, which kind of come in the Northern Hemisphere summer, coming up in sort of July, and from then on we've got a string of them, and then sprinkled in with some big 6,000s as well. So crucial time of the year to really find your form and rhythm. See if your surfing can start currying favour with the judges. And at the moment out here we're running 20-minute heats. This is day 1. It's all just about getting through. It's not about laying down statement performances. You almost want to keep plenty in the tank if you want to go all the way. Here goes Ian Costa out of Brazil. Good first hit. And he does it with ease on that second little foam climb and then won't find another section. So a short wave from him. He got a 4.2 early on for his first ride. He's going to back that up right now. It's a little early really for situations. Jones only has 1 wave ridden. And it's all kind of bunched together scoreboard-wise really. 3s and 4s are sort of what we're looking at. Here goes Thiago Caparica, the Frenchman. And he goes to the air and it's an ambitious punt. And he'll just spin out of control on that one. As he tries to go with progression into the lip. It's been a real kind of conversation on the CT gigs. We've seen with that change in judging criteria. We've got a new head judge. We've got those airs which didn't go out of favour as such, but they weren't quite getting the scores. And now they seem to be really coming back in terms of something important. And obviously, you know, look no further than Italo, won that first event. I mean, the stuff he's doing is like almost a whole nother level. Factor in, of course, Toledo, John, and Medina, and you're thinking, you know, these are sort of 4 of the greatest aerial surfers we've ever seen in the history of the sport, and they're all right up there looking like sort of the world title favourites.
Yeah, absolutely. Great vision from Josh Kerr there with that Red Bull Airborne. Of course, that comes around again in Bali in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, a number of these qualifying series surfers as well will be making the trip over to Sumatra.
All right, let's go down and hear from the winner of last heat, standing by with Monday.
Yeah, I got Eduardo down here, mate. A bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you grow up surfing?
I'm born in Brazil and moving to Portugal when I was 19. And since then I live here. I live in Carcavelos.
Right. So you've obviously spent a bit of time down in this part of the world. You've been to Caparica, you know, surfed down here a bit.
Yeah, I surf here too. I surf more in Guincho, Carcavelos, Praia Grande. Here more like in the summer. Yep. And yeah, today is fun. It's not bad. Have some rights and lefts. You can surf.
Yeah, and you through to that first round. That's got to be nervous. That the first heat of the competition, because if you lose, it's heartbreaking. So just to be that you must feel great.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm feeling great. Passed my heat. The last contest wasn't good, so now I think I want to enjoy, just enjoy, not thinking too much. Go there and surf.
Well, thanks, mate. Don't overthink it. It's a good motto to have. Good luck in the next round. We'll see you soon. Back to you guys in the booth.
Yeah, thanks, Mundy, and well done to Eduardo. He's like a cool customer, just saying, yeah, it's surfable out there. He's made his heat. He's got taken stock of it all. Pretty stoked to be through to the next round. We're 10 minutes into this one, halfway through our 20-minute heat, and the story is Braden Jones has got a second score and gone from 4th to 1st. So now that everyone's got 2 scores locked in, we bring you that updated situation. The American in blue leads Poulat of France in 2nd place. It's a really low-scoring affair, though, Giggs, and, you know, 3s and 4s in our total. This is anyone's game, right?
Yeah, there you see that score lock-in of a 3.1 for Caparica, and then he goes all the way up to 1st. So have a look at the bunch of scores there. Lead on 7.43, 4th place on 6.2. It's anyone's game here as we go down to 9.5.
And you've got to be thinking, when it's low numbers like that, the judges are just begging someone to just show that little bit of difference.
Yep.
And allow them to award a score. They don't want to be putting bunched together scores. So a little up in quality in terms of wave selection, and then obviously maneuver selection and execution will be rewarded by our judges. We did get a couple of heats there. We were going up visiting the 5s and the 6s. Let's see if we can bring a bit of quality to the back end of this one. We had a bit of a blast of wind, and that's kind of affected things as well.
Yeah, exactly.
On the surface.
I was almost just going to say as well, it almost feels like the interval in the wave swell period has just kind of tightened up just a little bit with that blast of wind.
Here goes Costa, backside, a small away from him, and a powerful first maneuver. Not throwing too much into it, but still gets plenty of spray. And then there's a 3rd snap for him as he kicks out. So he did have a 2 in his scoreline and a 4-2 as his high. Here goes Poulat, the Frenchman. He goes with the first rail maneuver, swoops down into the pocket. Then he'll belt the lip, and he got a good chunk of that. It's tricky to see from this angle, looking down the line, just how much of the lip he took on, but a nice visual impetus as he goes off the bottom and into the lip. Does have that powerful frame, and you can looking to use it to overpower the lip down here as time ticks away. 20-minute heat, so not a whole lot of time to figure things out, and so important to get a strong start. And this one's really flip-flopping around. It's absolutely wide open. As you mentioned, Giggs can go from 4th to 1st with a 3
exactly.
at the moment.
Well, the boy's not throwing us too many replays, but if we get a replay of last of white, Enzo Poulat, we're going to see how he's building these scores. And as we mentioned, the spread of numbers very, very tight here in this heat number 7. Time now 11 o'clock in the morning here in Portugal. So about an hour and a half off the high tide. See how this all settles down. Might just have been a little wind squall. See if it stays the steady breeze.
Yeah, this was in our forecast to get a little bit of everything. Can be kind of typical. Last couple of weeks in mainland Europe, we've had high pressure and beautiful clear skies, sunny conditions. But just
Feels like winter again, to be honest.
yeah, mixing the pot at the moment. We've got a bit of atmosphere marching in at us, jet stream in that slightly lower position. That means the lows spin further south. And then those cold fronts associated with the lows, they just come right over the continent. Generally down here, obviously Portugal is famed for its climate. For an Atlantic coast in Europe, does get the best of it being further south. But nevertheless, April, a little bit of everything. It's just asking another question of our competitors in terms of dealing with the onshores and a bit of weather and a bit of coldness. As we see Caparica belting a really strong hit into the lip, and he bit off a little more than he could chew right there and goes down. But I like the aggression. Always like to see surfers taking risks. Hopefully you're going to get plenty of opportunity. And I love the way he attacked that one, Giggsy.
Well, Pulau just a 3.83 there, Paul. So he's sitting outside of the cutoff here. You know, I'm looking at Braden Jones as well. Just such small requirements, 3.77. See kind of an ominous grey sky out over the back as well. So we're feeling that this blast of wind's not over just yet. Probably find another squall of it. As we slip inside of 6 to go, it's anyone's game. Thiago Caparica just had a little look. He found a fifth down in Senegal, so he's coming with a little bit of momentum. You know, it was a QS 1500 down in West Africa, but certainly no real standouts as far as the story goes.
Goes Costa, live action, ripping one off the top, gets the projection down the line. He's got a long way on this left, looking for a section. He finds one, he belts it, just reverses out of the lip, but doesn't get the execution done. So going for that kind of backside tail blow. Let's check out heat recap and see the story of heat number 7, how it's unfolded. And in sort of tricky atmospheric conditions, it's our surfer, Thiago Caparica, the goofy from France, who got a reasonable crack on the lip early on for a 4.33.
Yep, he's holding that second place position. Opportunities to go into the lip for Thiago Caparica there, but finding just a 4.33 and a 3.1 from the judges. Meanwhile, Ian Costa is now in the lead here as we look back on what he's pulled out of this broken lineup here in Costa de Caparica. 4.2 and a 3.77 for the bigger Brazilian chap. And as I say, you see him zooting along this broken wave. So some mixed up bowls here. There's a couple of walls to work with as well. So it is pretty tricky. The boys are finding a little challenge amongst the 4-pack here in the lineup. But remember, Paul, it's 2 through and 2 out. Right now, Enzo Pulau and Braden Jones are in the trouble seats.
Yeah, it's a game of threes right now, isn't it? So just 3-point rides would turn it around for each of our surfers looking for a score at the moment. Costa with a slender lead. He'll feel vulnerable. Let's check live action. Caparica, the Frenchman, bang into the lip. Sun comes out to illuminate his spray against an ominous dark sky over the Atlantic, and he smashed it again.
That's useful.
Really nicely done from the Frenchman.
That's useful.
Great little combo. Really enjoyed the aggression. Straight to the lip, no cutbacks. Just keeping the momentum on the front foot and belting it. So
3.64 to steal the lead from Costa. Feel that could go his way. And maybe just build a little bit of a buffer here. Of course, remember, 3rd and 4th place surfers also looking for mid-range threes. So very little to split the story here.
Sets stacking out the back as we see our lineup just duck diving, getting themselves in position. Tide swirling in on this sandbar, and a little bit of wind, sort of texture, just crossing things up, making it even trickier. Here goes Costa. He likes a steep sucky bowl out the back, and that one's going to run away from him. So no opportunity to throw more points on the board there. We go under that 3-minute mark. This is an important score. It's the highest we've seen so far in this heat. The highest score of the day so far, 6.67 for Thiago Caparica, and he's gone into first in fine style.
Yep, needed a mid-range 3, but really built much more than that. And having a look at some replays here will bring you that 6.67 shortly of Thiago Caparica. Our surfer in red.
That certainly is a highlight score for us. Just getting a couple of sixes out of each heat, aren't we?
Yep.
There's still a lot of threes, but that's indicative of the broken play here. Let's have a look at the replay of this. This is where he went from second to first here. Combination snap, little wrap there, but it was the fact that he could get 3 meaty turns to get I think that judges 8 to that last one. 6.67 adds it to a 4.33. Thiago Caparica, the heat leader here as we go inside of 2 minutes.
Yeah, strong wave from him, and he's done well just to keep his kind of focus, keep his concentration, not get kind of disheartened. He had that strong start, and then he kind of went off the boil, and he would have heard, you know, scores coming in around him and feeling his position being threatened. And he just took it to that wave right there. As you said, Giggs finished with an absolute bang. It's like his surfing sort of built momentum throughout that wave. Here's Costa out the back. He's found another bomb. Costa's found the meaty waves, but some of these bigger ones are running away a little bit. And he's maybe putting himself a little bit deep on the bowl out there at the back and not able to come around and execute any maneuvers.
Well, with Costa going down from first to second, he pulls his original heat leading score into the second place bracket. Means the requirements are up for both Pulau and Jones into the 4s here, Paul. So back end of the heat now, 1 minute to go. Guys have got to find something just a little better, because if you look at Enzo Pulau sitting on 2 pairs of 3s, he's got to go find his best wave. In fact, both surfers, Pulau and Jones, must find their best waves in the heat right now.
Quick in and out for Caparica. It's not going to change anything. We'll be as we were. That's a throwaway for him. And it's really ticking away under that 40-second mark now. But still really modest requirements. They basically just need a wave. Pula, we've already seen the kind of stuff he can do. He just needs to stand up and go slightly better than his high score so far. And if you're in that position needing the score, it's the unwelcome sight of the next heat prowling, which just enforces the fact that you really are running out of time. Will there be an opportunity for Jones, the American? He's in blue and he's got second priority. First prior is with Poulat, the Frenchman in whites. And he just needs to stand up on something. He's not going to be able to, I don't think, as time ticks away. Not sure anyone got to their feet, so let's check the official result. No waves ridden at the end of there, so it's as we were. Thiago Caparica of France advancing with a reasonably healthy 11-point total, and he'll take the Brazilian Ian Costa on with him with a 7.97. We say bye, au revoir to Poulat. And Braden Jones, the American, they'll bow out, and we'll be back with more live action after the break.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
Well, it's normally sunny Portugal, but it's a Monday and we've got a little bit of drizzle in, some onshore. As we tee up a new heat here, you're joining us for day 1 of competition. It is the Costa Rica Surf Fest presented by Oakley. And this is your new heat out in the lineup, ready. 2 minutes into it, Pablo Montero takes on Sam Coffey, Kilian Gurian and Teva Buchka. My pronunciations might be a little bit shaky, but someone will get all the pronunciations right. It's the man next to me, Welcome to the booth, Diogo. It's a good morning to you.
Good morning, geeks. Thank you for the warm welcome.
How do I say your surname? Alpendre.
There you go. Got it the first time around.
My pronunciations are getting better from the start.
You've been practicing. I can tell. And the first ride there. But yeah, good to join in on the fun here. It's going to be hopefully a good week of surfing. It has started already with more than a couple actually heats, and hopefully we'll see some more good action.
Well, here we go, following live action this morning. This is Kilian Gurian, up and down for him. We spoke of the wind squall that has hit us here in the lineup. So slightly broken conditions, but no one's complaining. It is some power on display here. We guys are getting turns, they're getting combinations, and incoming tide offering us opportunities.
Yep, that's Kilian's first wave, I think. It's a 3-6-7, just a normal two-turn combination. And this is Teva Bourgeois from France. Again, his first wave for 283 gigs. Nothing too spectacular to start the heat.
Well, we were chatting off screen just before you came into the booth here. How was Santa Cruz? Well, I'll tell you how Santa Cruz was. Santa Cruz was very good for the French surfers. So we had a number of them in the top 8 come finals day. In fact, 3 Frenchmen. And then if you can debate if finalist Ramzi Boukayem, he surfs under the Moroccan flag, but he's based in France. So yeah, the French went very well in Santa Cruz, and 2 of them here in this heat. Of course, these are the lower seeds working their way through round 1 of competition. If you're just joining us, it is the QS 3000 coming to you from Costa de Caparica, just a few kilometers outside of the Lisbon area. In fact, this is pretty much the city's home beach.
It is. It's so much that city's home beach that, in fact, most of the surfers from Lisbon are known as Caparica surfers, and most of the surfers that turned out to be professional surfers coming from here, from the Portuguese surfing community, most of them come from Lisbon, so there's a really strong connection, and I think that's part of the reason why this event also got the upgrade, because there are not many places close to a big European capital where you can hold a contest like this, and you're like 20 minutes away from a capital.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a drive over the big red bridge, past the Christ statue as he looks out over the capital, and then just a few minutes later, hang a right, and you're in Costa de Caparica, beautiful region here. Of course, you guys are coming out of winter now. It's just a little bit of a late snap here, but generally sunshine and beach scenes is what you'll get greeted with here in Costa de Caparica.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday was actually a beautiful day. I flew in from London yesterday, and it's usually very common when the planes land from in the north runway. You usually do this big, beautiful turn around Lisbon, and you go over Caparica, and I actually could see from above all the event setup and how it is displayed, and I could see that there was swell coming, the ocean was getting some more energy, and it's actually a great introduction to what you expect when you come to Portugal and Caparica. It's just beautiful, a lot of sand stretches, beautiful beaches, and it's quite a place. And that was one more wave for Teva Bourgeois, but again, it's a pretty low score.
Well, here we go, following live action. This is Sam Coffey now. Lovely S-turn there, combination, and as I start teeing him up, he'll go down in the effort. The young American made the trip out here, and he had to go in Santa Cruz. But while we wait for scores to fall in for Sam Coffey, let's go down and hear from the winner of that last heat.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Gigs. I've got Tiago Carrique, a young French surfer here. Let's find out a bit about you, Tiago. Not many people know about you. You're a young junior. Where are you from? How old are you, and where are you from?
I'm 17. I'm from France. My dad's French, but I live in Costa Rica.
Okay, live in Costa Rica. And were you up in surfing in the junior event at Espino?
Yeah, I was there until yesterday night. I came here yesterday night. Woke up at 7.
Okay. And how was it jumping from the juniors straight into a senior event? How did you find that jump in the quality?
I like it. I like it. It's fun. It's harder in the QS, of course, but I like both.
And how far do you want to go? What's the goal for this week? You're 17. You're a young kid. How many heats can you win? Do you reckon?
I don't know. I don't really have a goal, but I just want to do my best.
Okay. Well, your best is working, and we might just go back to live action. Back to you guys in the booth. Thanks, Tiago.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So there, the juniors getting results here amongst the qualifying series. Of course, think of Alfonso Tunes a few heats back as well. So the kids are blazing down from Espino, where they had pretty good surf as well for the junior event.
Yep, it's lining up to be a good one. And actually, Afonso is a bit on a roll. He got second in the Espinho event, got the event's only 10 for a beautiful barrel. Obviously, the conditions aren't quite like that today, maybe later in the week. But yeah, I always like seeing the juniors mixing it up with the big boys. There's always someone that is bound to break in and just surprise some of the more senior surfers, so to speak. And yeah, Tiago Carrick just showing again that he can be one of those surfers, really. It's good to see.
Well, this is the story on the qualifying series. Here's a surfer that's 30 years of age, the Spanish surfer, looking for his points here in the QS 3000s. Of course, Portugal hosting 2 QS 3000s back-to-back. Santa Cruz wrapping up successfully with a win for the Portuguese Frederico Moraes. But a whole new week and a whole new set of goals for all of our surfers. And here we go, following Sam Coffey. Opened up with just a 2.5 because he spilled that maneuver. Now a little bit of a broken wall, does find an opportunity. And as that section comes in on him, he will not ride out of it. So it's going to be 2 low scores making up the story for the American in this heat. But in reference to everybody else, no one else has put their hand up just yet here as we get down to a little over 11 minutes to go.
Yep, and I liked how this wave was lining up. But again, the onshore conditions just making those sections crumble really fast, and then the wave just crumbling down on that last section. And Sam, unfortunately, not really finishing that wave as he would have liked. Just a 3.4 for him, enough to get him the win. As we see another surfer taking off gigs, it's White.
Well, here we go, surfer in white, Kylian Gurien, one of 2 French surfers, wrestling with that lineup. And there's a backhand hit there for Teva, the other Frenchman. So quick, you'll see a lot of this happening. It's almost like there's 4 or 5 waves in a set now with this wind squall that's come in. So we're getting lots of action on top of itself as the it's going to make it hard for the judges too, by the way.
Yep, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at the replay from the White, if I'm not mistaken. Kylian Gurien, from afar, it looked like a good turn, but I'm not exactly sure because it was quite far from here. He only needed a pretty low score, 1.16, to go to second place in these first heats. As I'm sure you boys have explained, what matters is to be on those first 2 positions.
Yep.
Those are the ones that gonna make you advance. We have the score for Kylian.
Well, that man on screen is heading out. We'll bring you that replay shortly. This is Kylian Gurien, who's found a 5 in the lineup here.
Yep, the wave had some size to it, and Kylian Gurien just letting those fins free on that turn, and then just a whitewater climb there, as we see on his backhand. That's Teva Bourgeois. Back-to-back waves for our French surfers.
Yeah, 4.1 in there. So the 2 Frenchmen are going to go from the bottom to the top here. So there's the heat turning inside out. Sam Coffey was in the lead, but now bumps down. Coffey, meanwhile, did find a 3.4 in the lineup. But that's a refreshed set of numbers top left of screen right now. Inside of 10 minutes, we're in the second half. And Gurien and Bourgeois, is that how I pronounce it?
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Yep, that's
Bourgeois,
good.
it's French, of course. Bourgeois is up in second. But Bourgeois, meanwhile, is sitting on just a 2.83. And he'll use now that second priority. Here he goes, fetching more scores in the lineup here. And Costa de Caparica hit on the lip and a massive, possibly an end section here. Looking for him, no. So continuing with the action here, Pablo Montero, the oldest of our competitors in this particular heat bracket. 2-turn combination for the Spaniard. He will, what they call, pet the kitty. He'll just shovel his way back out. Slow start for Pablo Montero, 4th place surfer. He's going to need to build some numbers because I think we'll expect a reasonable number to add for Teva Bourgeois. Definitely will improve on a 2.83. What are we thinking?
Yep, that's very true. Look at him go, just 1 turn again. The wave didn't look like much in the beginning, but then 2 solid turns there for the Frenchman in green. Just behind him, Pablo Montero. Really interesting to see Pablo doing so many European QS events. I'm not sure if the judges are going to enjoy that last turn too much, but it was a good attempt from our Spanish surfer. But I was going to say that Pablo Montero, he used to do only the QS events in Spain and maybe in France, Portugal, here and there. But he seems a lot more committed this season. It's never too late to start. We had a much older than him surfer doing a lot of events. I think it was Abdel El Haim, who was more than 50 and was doing pretty much all the QSs in Europe. It was pretty funny. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. So it's good to see. Yeah, it's some of these good side stories in these events.
Well, of course, surfing truly a global sport, and nations being represented here. 2 Frenchmen, though, are in charge of this particular one. We don't have a score yet for Tevye Bourgeois on his last ride. We're going to see how much that will build a bridge between himself in second and then Sam Coffey down in third as we get down to 7 minutes to go. Well, it looks like Bourgeois may even knock on the door of the lead. He does. A 4.67 in, sees Green now up to the top. Kylian Guerrien down a second. So still 2 French surfers, but changing over the lead.
Yep. And now there's definitely a bit of room between second and third, as third and fourth, Sam and Pablo would need what would be the best waves of the heat to go into qualifying position, as we go with the replay of Sam Coffey's last wave. Just a bit of a wasted opportunity, really. He didn't have the speed to go for more than that, as we see White up and riding.
Well, here we go. This is Kylian Guerrien. Broken wave, definitely spotting a pattern that we spoke about as early as the first and second heats this morning. Is once you have a little lull in the action, the first waves arrive will break on the cleanest water. This is one of those broken waves later in the set here.
Yep, it's very true. And we go again with live action. Tevye Bourgeois, he really wants to hold on to the lead. A bit late on that last turn there for Tevye, but still, yeah, he seems energized, which is good to see. He's probably not too comfortable in the water with this onshore wind and all the conditions, but let's take a look at the replay. Just a floater to go over that first section and just smashes that white water. Doesn't get a clean completion, does he?
Well, 4.67 and a 4.1 already earned by Tevye. Are we going to see a points improvement? No, judges will throw 2.93 at that, so no change to any situation. Still your French surfer in green out in the front. The other French surfer lying second, and Coffey still chasing a 5.27, so we'll see where that priority gets used now in the back part of this heat by the American. Montero, meanwhile, slightly improving these scores, 3.2 and a 2.2. Let's have a look at this one.
Yep, now going forehand. That's much better from him, Pablo Montero. But again, he was a bit late on that last turn. And we're seeing a lot of surfers not being able to get that momentum required to finish those last turns and really get something more from the judges. I think the onshore conditions are making it hard to really get the speed coming from the first and second turns, and just being comfortable enough to hit that last section with the right timing and momentum. But as soon as we see a surfer getting that opportunity, I think we'll see much better scores than the ones we are actually seeing in this heat. One thing I want to mention is Sam Coffey's first wave, 2.5. He missed the second turn in what was a very, very good-looking wave. It was a bit of a wasted opportunity. It was quite a while back in this heat, but it caught my mind. It was just getting used to the conditions.
Here we go, live surfing. Second place surfer looking for a combination on the inside here. He's trying to attack that lead of Tevye Bourgeois. Might not knock on the door of that. Mind, he only needs a 3.77. Meanwhile, Coffey will slam into an oncoming section. And we'll get a replay of that, but it was almost like he didn't really go much up the face before that section was coming down on him. In and out there for your heat leader. So lots unfolding here. It's quick repetitions in the lineup here in the QS 3000. And in fact, Pablo Montero, little in and out for the Spanish surfer. Just making a note to Tevye Bourgeois, who's leading the heat here. He's on the junior tour as well. So he's one of those young surfers that has attended a couple of events, including, as we mentioned, that junior pro Espino. Finished 5th up the coast over the weekend, losing to Koali Vast in the quarterfinals of that junior there. Let's have a look at the heat recap of it. Diogo, what are we making of it? The 2 Frenchies are out front.
Yep, they are. Then this is one of them. Kilian Guerin, that's his best wave so far. It's a 5-point ride for the Frenchman. And again, this is the 5 for Kilian. That one before was a 3-6-7. Just a much better turn from him in that first wave. And now this is Green Teva.
So when are we expecting
working
to pick it up again
his
on
way
the broadcast?
up the scale. Nothing too major, but enough to give him the lead, a 4.67 and a 4.1 for a Frenchman in green, competing at the Junior Espinho. It's also good for these surfers who have these back-to-back events, as they don't lose any rhythm of competition. They just go from heat to heat, as we go with live action with blue Sam Coffey.
Well, the American now down in third. Good hit there. Kind of heavy on the back foot. He's looking for a 4.21 and the clock's down to 2 minutes to go. So Bourgeois, the Frenchman out front. Kilian Gurian, the other Frenchman. So the juniors are showing how it's done here in the lineup. We'll see where Sam Coffey goes with that. Meanwhile, Pablo Montero's had his opportunities. The Spanish surfer in red. He's kind of let go of a lot of scoring potential as well, has the Spanish surfer, who will remain down in fourth, but he has the priority, so it's not over till it's over.
Just a check turn to start things off for Sam in this one wave. The last one was much better.
4.21 requirement. Judges' scorecard open on this one. We'll just stay with this surfer from the United States, Sam Coffey. Got a 65th in Santa Cruz last week. Didn't get much progression through the rounds. And here is Teva Bourgeois, the young junior, dominating this heat, we feel. Meanwhile, Sam Coffey, judges loved the power on that back foot. We made reference to that final maneuver. 5.4, heat turns inside out, and that man on screen now is down to second, but awaiting a score.
Yep. Sam had already improved his situation with that previous wave of him, a 4.47, and now a 5.4. And it's never good when you hear in that very last minute that you suddenly jump to third. Your heart rate just goes off, and then it's go time from pretty much every second. So 30 seconds to go, and Sam Coffey takes
All
it
right,
out.
so the heat turns inside out there. Sam Coffey goes from third to first. Not a massive heat score total. We're not even into the double digits, just knocking on the door of it. But a 5.4 and a 4.47 is going to be enough to go from third to first, as we mentioned. And Teva Bourgeois, the young French junior, bumps down from the lead down to second. But he is holding on to that as well. And that is how the end result is going to turn out. You see the young Teva on screen. He'll be happy with that win. It will be Sam Coffey taking the win over Teva Bourgeois, and it's his goodbye as early as round one to Kilian Gurian and Pablo Montero. And that is going to be how it unfolds. So we've just been given notice that the format, it is the Caparica Surf Fest. We have many divisions underway. We have the juniors, we have the young girls, we've had all the disciplines being represented here. But the men's QS 3000 will now go on hold and make way for the rest of the Surf Fest. We will be dropping the broadcast right about now, and then we will resume broadcast at around 2 p.m. this afternoon. So that'll be on the other side of the high tide. What are we thinking conditions-wise quickly in the afternoon?
Yeah, hopefully they'll improve. I mean, the sun is supposed to come out, wind to back off a little, and hopefully we'll see some good surfing, and some of these surfers might actually surf again. Sam and Teva, the heat winners of this one.
All right, so that wraps up round one action here for now. That is the capital of Lisbon, and it'll be waiting for us again when we see you at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
We got love that we'll never need to hide. Love will always rise above. Whatever comes, we will be just fine. If I am yours and you are mine.
Em 2009, lançámos a fibra e poucos imaginaram o que seria possível. Crescemos, lutámos e acreditámos. E a fibra venceu. Fez-nos rir, fez-nos chorar, fez-nos fazer e até sonhar. Deu-nos mundo e deu-nos um mundo. E venceram os sonhos de milhões de portugueses. Hoje é de fibra que somos feitos. Ligue-se à maior rede de fibra desde 29,99€ mês, com velocidade até 1 GB. Mel, a fibra é dos portugueses.
First of green and 113. First of green red 113 and first of red Laura 107. First of red 107. First of green 113. First of blue 0.9 and the 2S for white 3.5. The best wave of white, best wave of the heat so far, and white also with a 0.5 on their backup. First 5 minutes soon already gone. 15 minutes and 30 seconds now. Riding gets green and a Rosenbaum, certainly for Belgium. Priority red, second blue, third white. Cigars coming for green. Second of green, 10-5-1-7. That's your best wave green. You have now a 1-1-3 on your backup. So it's the best wave of the hit so far. The last of green ran a Rosenbaum, a 5-1-7. He also has a 113 over first leg. Priority is red, second white, third blue. Number 9 red, product of yellow. Second of red, Laura, 1 point. Second of red, 1 point. Red, your first was a 107. That's your top 2 scores, red. Priority with white, second priority blue. So green is now in the lead. Green in the lead, sitting on a 517 and a 113. Green, you can improve your 113, but you're in the lead. Up and riding is now red and blue. And finishing blue. Answering white. Maria Conradi. Surfer in white, standing up the scores. 12 minutes, 10 seconds now. Up and running, it's now red. Answering white. Priority at the back with Safari Green, scores coming, several scores. Time calls 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Green, your best wave was your second, 517. You have a 113 on your second best wave, Green. Up and riding Green, ela não perde tempo, surfista de verde, da Bélgica. No priority now. Second of blue, Anua. Second of blue was a 393. 393 for the second of blue. That's blue's best ride. Second of blue, and you're 393. That's your best drive, blue. Last of red, Laura, a 3.5. That's your best drive as well, Rad. The last of white, Ina Maria Conradi, it's a 4.37, and that's the best way for white as well. And the last of green, Rihanna, a 2.17. That's your backup now, green. So 10 minutes on the clock, ladies. Situation in the lead, white, Ina Maria Conradi, with a 4.37 and a 3.5. So white in the lead. There she comes. É a líder desta bateria, quer melhorar agora 3,5. Second place, green, Hannah Rosenbaum. Green, you have a 5.17 and a 2.17. You need a 2.7 to lead. Up and running, it's now blue. Aí vem a Anhoa Lesseaga. Ela está na terceira posição. Já melhorou um 0.9 que tinha do seu recado, mas o requisito para chegar a segundo lugar era um 3.42. Vamos aguardar. Esta é a Laura Coviela, que quer melhorar agora o mundo de 1.07. Scores coming. 9 minutes on the clock now. Priority with green. No second. 313, that's your second best wave, Brad. Last of blue on your 1.9. Last of blue 1.9, that's your second best wave, blue. 8 minutes on the clock. Seven and a half minutes remaining. White in the lead. Green is now second, chasing the 283. Third place with red. Red, you're sitting in third, and you need a 385. Red, you're sitting in third, you need a 385 to second. And Surfer in blue with a fourth position, fourth place blue. You need a 342 blue, you need a 342 to second. 7 minutes on the clock now. Blue, your best wave was a 393 and your second best was a 1.9. You're sitting in fourth and you need a 342 to second. Time call 6 minutes 30 seconds. Situation in the lead, White, Ina Maria Conrado. White, you have a 437 and a 363. Second place Green, and above the ball. Green, you have a 517 and a 217 Green. You need a 283. Green, you need a 283 to lead. Third place Red. Red, you're currently sitting in third Red. You have a 3.5 and a 313 Red. You need a 385 to second. And fourth place with Blue on your Deseada. Blue, you have a 393 and a 1.9 Blue. You need a 342 to second. 5.5 minutes remaining. Priority Green, second left. Priority red, no second. 5 minutes now. 5 minutes remaining, ladies. And last of Green, and a 497 situation change, Green in the lead. Last of red, last of Green, 497, last of Green, 497. Green is now in the lead with 517, 497. Attention White, you're now second. White second, chasing the 577. Attention Red, Laura, you're sitting in third. You have priority of red. You are in third. 9 plus second, chasing at 577. At the back, priority green, second priority blue, third red. 1 minute and 30 seconds. And last of white, Ina Maria, 543. You're still second. You need a 471 to make the lead, white. You're second. Still in the lead, green. Second place, white. But white needs now a 471 to lead. Final minute, last minute. Third place, red. Red needs now a 6.3 to second. And blue third, Jessica 587 to second. 45 seconds. First of green, Emma, 233. First of blue, 383. First of blue, Jay, 383. First of green, Emma, 233. First of red is around 0.5. Priority 5. blue chase 3 points, second of blue 3 points. That's your second best wave blue. Your first wave blue was a 383. And second of green Emma a 1.5. Green Emma, your second was a 1.5 and your first was a 233. 30 minutes, 30 seconds in the lead blue. James McLean in the lead, sitting on a 383 and a 3. Second place green, green you have a 233 and a 1.5 left. So green you need a 4.5 to do. Only one way for red. Red is sitting in third, the over there. Chasing at 333 second. Still no way for white. White you need a 383 second. Time goes 30 minutes on the clock. 30 minutes on the clock. First left to white. First of whites, 2-1-3, 2-1-3 for the first of whites. First of whites is 2-1-3, and white is sitting now in third, chasing the 1-7-1. Attention white, you're now third, we need a 1-7-1 to second. Fourth place now with red. Second of red is around 0.8. First was 0.5. Red is sitting now in fourth. Fourth place now for red, chasing the 303 to second. In the lead, blue with 383. Second place green. Green you have a 233 and a 1.5. Green you need a 4.5. Third place now with white. Only one white for white. 2-1-3 from black and white, a 1-7-1. And fourth place with red. Red scores 0.8 and a 0.5. Red is chasing the 303 second. 11 minutes, 10 seconds. Surfing in the next week, please check in. Violeta Sanchez. Violeta Sanchez, please check in. 10.5 minutes remaining on the clock now. Last of green, 10 minutes on the clock. Last of green, Emma was a 277. Blue still in the lead. Blue in the lead, but second place is now green. After a 277 on her last race, green is now sitting in second, chasing the 406 to lead. White third, chasing the 297 to second. And red fourth, chasing the 4.3 to second. Green, last wave of green was a 277 green. Second chasing now a 406, still blue in the lead. second of white, second of white, 0.9. Last of green was the 277, so situation with 8 minutes and 10 seconds. In the lead blue, you have a 383 and a 3 points. Second place green, Emma. Green you have a 277 and a 233. Green you need a 406. Up and riding in RF. Standing by for left of red. But prior to this last wave of red was fourth. Third place green white, just a 297 a second. And standing by now for the left of red. Green, Emma, it's the 5.5 last of green. 5.5 situation change. Green is now in the lead. Green is now in the lead. Attention blue, you're now second. You need a 4.45 to lead. Third place with white. Last of white was a 2.7 white. You're sitting in third. And you need a 4.13. White, you need a 4.13. Second and fourth place with red. Red we need a 396. Red we need a 396. The second. we will start the next one soon, and we will start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is off. The heat is off. In the water where Emily Curry, who relates the sessions competitive, white friendly the sun, in green, Kino Matai. Gets up in the water where Emily Curry. 30 seconds. So 11 minutes and 30 seconds in the lead. Red, heavily going, sitting on a 4 and 0.6. Second place, blue, 11. Blue, you have a 3.5 and a 1. So green, blue, you need a 1.1 to lead. Third place, with only the white, green, 3.37 was the score of 1 green. So green, you have a 3.37, but you need a 1.7 to get second place. Carolinas, esta onda tinha o 0.5 e 0.3, estava de 4 posição, à procura de 4 e esta tua última onda vai ser a corrida de trás. Nós precisamos de 4 minutos já, a corrida de posição 10 minutos. 10 and a half minutes remaining. As the start is moving to the right. And the last degree was a 173. 173 for the last degree. And situation change. Green is now in the lead. 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Green now in the lead. Second place red. And the lead. You need a 1.7 to take the lead. Third place blue. You need a 1.34 to get second. And the last one, 30 the same was white's last white, 373 white, 373 on your last white, that's your last. White, you're still fourth, and you need a 1-1-1. White, you need a 1-1-1 to get second place. Under this year, a woman from the second. Again, this is John Oakley. E ela precisa agora de um pouco longe para chegar até ao fundo do lugar. Este é o primeiro destaque para a segunda decisão que está no outro lado. 9 minutes, 10 seconds, and 5 one lap to conclude. And the season. Elas são todas muito próximas, todas têm já uma onda na casa dos dias, ou eventualmente os quatro, mas depois todas estão completamente para baixo. A situação mais vai agora de melhorar os quatro minutos. Abordagem de track. Standing by now for last track. Emily was trying to improve, she already did it, trying to improve the silhouette of her backup. Standing by. The last of 2 kilometers. Your last wife was your Under 7 minutes now, 6 minutes 45 seconds. Up and running blue. They trying to use a complete mistake. Vamos dar a competição, mas as coisas estão ainda equilibradas nesta bateria. Responde agora, tentava responder. Ela lidera com 4-3-2-7. Last of White could win a 0-9-3. It's your backup. White, you still fourth, and you need a 3-5-5. Red in the lead, blue second, chasing a 3-5-1. Third place with green. Green, you need a 3.9 to second, and fourth White chasing a 3.55 to second. Aí vai o líder desta bateria. Ataque backside nesta esquerda. E ela depois estava um pouco atrasada e optou por ser. Vamos ver se melhora ao 3-2-7. Esse não é o meu trabalho. Essa tarefa está a cargo dos nossos conceituados juízes, experientes juízes desta prova. Apenas faço a ligação, a comunicação entre aquilo que aparece do pintor e as cientistas lá fora na área. Last of red, 3-3-7, and it goes to your top 2 red. It's now your backup. Attention blue, you need a 3-6-1 to lead. Green third, chasing a 3.9, and white fourth, chasing a 3.55. 4.5 minutes remaining. A ondulação, agora com a maré a encher. Nota-se bem essa consistência da maré a encher. Minutes. Priority change. Priority is now blue, second red. Third for white now. Priority blue, second red, third white. Situation red in the lead. Red, you're in the lead. You have a 4 and a 3.37. Second place with blue, you let them. Blue, you have a 3.77 and 3.5. You need 3.61 to lead. Third place with green. Green, you have a 3.37 and a 1.73 backup. Green, you need a 3.9 to second. And fourth place, white will lead the such. Chasing a 3.55 to second. Ele bola à sua frente, vai tentar esta secção. Mas acaba por ser 3 minutes. 3 minutes remaining. Priority blue, second red. Two and a half minutes remaining. Last of white, Carolina Sanch, 1.27. You're still fourth and you still need a 3.55 white. 2 minutes on the clock. Carolina